All right, big baby in the building with the Sit Politic podcast with some familiar faces. You already know what it is. It's the experts in the building today. We're gonna do an NFL mock draft. We got Bubba Chuck, Luce Andretti to the bottom right hand corner. He just left. We got Paul Paul over here in the which is right now. There are no corners, and then Harold right beneath us. And Luce Andretti, I'm sure he's gonna try to get back in here before we start picking. But yeah, just so y'all know, we're going to go through the first round of the NFL draft today, and we're all going to switch off picks. So each pick will be a new person, and we will have some trades. But if we want to trade, then it's going to be a situation we're all going to have to agree on. It's going to make a lot of sense. But yeah, other than that, we'll go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and first here and our draft tool. And let's see here. There it is. Okay. Can y'all see that on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. All right. So I'm going to slide over there. Luce Andretti, Bubba Chuck. Good to have you back, bro. And all right. So the Carolina Panthers, they've traded up into the first pick to they traded with the who was it? The Bears, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, they traded the Bears, and the Bears are down here. They now have the 9th pick. So we'll see what they're going to do with that when it comes to it. I think, for me personally, my personal opinion on this is I personally like C.J. Stroud a lot. I really don't see anything with his game that would deter me personally from picking him, but so I don't fuck up the mock draft right off the bat and destroy the integrity of it, I'm going to go ahead and select Bryce Young. I think at this point, that's what they're going to do. There's a lot of momentum heading in that direction. I understand why draft Bryce Young. There's a lot to like about him. His size concerns me. And then really, this isn't a knock on Bryce Young as much as it's just a credit to C.J. Stroud. And anytime that he's had to step up, I think we've seen it with Bryce Young too, to be honest, because I think he's encountered a little bit more adversity than a lot of Alabama quarterbacks. So I'd like to hear Paul's opinion on that, as an Alabama fan. And maybe that's of his own doing, I don't know. But just from watching his games, there's a lot of times that I feel like he was behind the 8 ball and he made things happen more times than not. I just worry about when he starts to run up against that different competition in the NFL. But what's your guys' opinion on that? Anybody have any gripes with that first pick or anything to add with that?
No, I think it's right on key with what they're going to do. I think that they really built a roster and a coaching staff around a quarterback, having a quarterback like Bryce succeeding. My thing about Bryce is this wasn't your usual Alabama team where we have this top flight wide receiver. There really wasn't one. I mean, we had 2 of our starters transfer out because basically the writing was on the wall that they were losing their spots. We had forget the one, Jermaine Burton. He didn't come. I mean, the guy came back for his senior year for a reason. You know, he wasn't projected to get drafted in the top 3 rounds. So this wasn't an Alabama team with a top flight receiving core. We don't have an offensive lineman that's projected to be drafted high. And that's another situation where there's actually young kids coming in, new incoming players taking spots on that offensive line. So like you said, yeah, Bryce, he wasn't in that situation where he had this loaded Alabama team. I think he was held back some by Bill O'Brien's play calling. If you watch the games, a lot of times you see the most predictable play calling on first, second downs, a lot of 5-yard, 7-yard throws. And you would see Bryce basically sit there. And I thought maybe it was him waiting to find something open or maybe he couldn't see the field. But with everything that's came out about how well he can analyze the field and see the field, I would assume that that's incorrect. C.J. Stroud, I feel like with what he had at Ohio State, I mean, you're talking about Marvin Harrison, in my opinion, might be the best wide receiver I've ever seen in college football.
Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, he is polished. There's no doubt. He's extremely polished for a college player. Now, Deuce, you got anything to say on that, or Harold? You got any opinions on the Bryce Young pick?
I think I just don't think he's going to work out, but
okay,
you know.
I think with Bryce Young, for me, Bryce Young versus C.J. Stroud. For me, what would be the holes in C.J. Stroud's game? Paul, I'd like to hear your opinion on it.
So the only holes that I don't see much. I mean, he looks like a good quarterback. I don't like his the way he gets the ball up to his ear before he throws. I mean, again, that's just me being picky. To me, I feel like it slows down the throwing motion and timing. And then to me, I feel like it's just tough. I mean, I have the same feelings with Burrow coming out where it's like, okay, you do a lot of great, but then a lot of it is you have guys who are just that much better than the guys they're playing against.
Yeah.
So how many of these balls to Marvin Harrison Jr. that are bad reads that he went and eyed down Marvin Harrison Jr. the entire time from snap to throw? Is that going to work out in the NFL? I mean, we're seeing that a lot happen to where it works out because the receivers are just that damn good nowadays. But that's the one thing that scares me is I feel like that Bryce Young is the more polished quarterback of the two. And the only thing that you can say is that he's 5'10", which in 2023 does that matter?
Why do you say he's not more polished, Deuce? And Harold, I don't know if it's my text, brother, but you're kind of echoing other people's when other people talk. I don't know. Oh, it looks like you got headphones in there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I disagree. I don't think he's more polished. I think C.J. Stroud is a way more polished quarterback. But I think he was asked to do more, you know what I'm saying, with his system, 100% in the passing game. He is mobile. He can throw on the run. He can throw from the pocket. He can hit any throw on the field. He's got a live arm. I mean, there's no reason. I mean, I think C.J. Stroud probably will go to the Panthers. I think he's more,
You think he'll go first?
I think he'll go one, personally.
Wow, okay. That's interesting. So for me, I feel like now a lot of the times the week leading up to the actual draft itself, we get a lot of smoke screen, and maybe that's what this is. But me personally, I feel like, well, and also with the first pick, I mean, there's not really as much need to do the smoke screen as far as Carolina goes. But I feel like there's been a gap that's been created between CJ Stroud and Bryce Young that wasn't there a month ago, 2 months ago. I feel like this was much more of a conversation, but leading up to the draft, it seems like it's gotten much more concrete. And Jay, do you have an opinion on this, the Bryce Young move?
Yeah, I think it's definitely got to be Bryce Young going number one. I know there's a lot of smoke around CJ Stroud, but you look at all the quarterbacks that came out of Ohio State, they just have the best receivers. He plays with the best players. So I just don't think that might translate it. I mean, it sucks that it can knock him. I hope that he can overcome that, but I just don't think you can go number one overall when you got Bryce Young.
Does anybody put any stock into the S2 test results or whatever? That's something that came out recently.
It's bullshit.
Where he scored like 18 or some shit like that. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
No, so the guy that created the test, he like clarified a lot in the Pat McAfee show where he said how basically that was like one part of the test and it wasn't like the scores aren't that accurate. But he actually said that the scores were false that were reported, and that he alluded to CJ Stroud being the player without saying it was CJ Stroud. But basically, he did the test at midnight and didn't want to do the test. He was told he had to do the test, did at midnight, and basically just like went through it and just didn't give any effort, which to me is kind of a knock if you're looking at, hey, this is the biggest job interview of your life and you're going to throw a temper tantrum like that. Yeah, but I can understand because I'm an emotional person too, so I might have done the same thing. Yeah. So I don't know how much stock I put into that.
Well, and this isn't a knock on you because I think that you probably have the temperament to be an NFL quarterback. But when you say that you would have done it, I may have done it. But I mean, we're not up for a $1 million job interview. You know what I mean? And maybe for a reason. A lot of the reason we may have not gotten to that point may be because of an issue with temperament and things like that.
I agree.
Hey, man, listen, it comes down to, can he throw touchdowns and win you possibly a Super Bowl? And that's CJ Stroud, man.
I mean, decision making is a huge part of it.
Listen, CJ Stroud is on time with his throws. He doesn't have to do. Oh my God! You used to be the main guy complaining about Bryce Young always having to do
you're right.
the scramble damble bullshit.
So hold on. To be fair, go ahead.
So what I'm saying is just with CJ Stroud, you saw most of his film is in the pocket making shit happen. You know what I mean? It's not a knock to Bryce Young. I still think Bryce Young goes within the top 4. But I think, unfortunately, there will probably be 2 or 3 quarterbacks.
There's no chance he falls out of the top 3, first and foremost.
No.
Yeah.
If he's there when the 3rd pick comes up, he's gone.
So, real
Yeah,
quick,
so
just like
that's my point. I mean, I think even if it's 4, I think someone trades up and gets him. So
if it's 4, people trade whatever the fuck they need to get him. Paul, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. No. Just on the thing with Bryce. I mean, again, yeah, I wasn't the biggest. Again, I'm not one of the Alabama fans that sits there and says Bryce Young's the best quarterback we've had. I don't agree with that. But again, Bryce Young, the guys, Trayshawn Holden just transferred out again of his second school he transferred to, and then I already forget. Oh, JoJo Earl. The reason why they're gone is because they couldn't get open. Nobody was getting open. So when you break down, they released this thing where they put all the passing ratings in the pocket, under pressure, on the run. Bryce Young was number 1 in the country in all of those. So when it comes down to you saying like what CJ Stroud can't do, Bryce Young can do all that. And then I disagree with who has more to do in their offense. Again, Bryce Young had less talented players and was running a pro-style system with Bill O'Brien as the Dolphins coordinator. While CJ Stroud is running an offense that's proven with Ryan Day, copying Urban Meyer's system, but it's the same Ohio State system that they've been in, that every quarterback that steps in there is just as successful, if not more successful.
I'm not going to let you do this. What I'm not going to let you do is sit here like Alabama puts on the field a bunch of fucking bums on the field, Paul. These bro, you're not.
So how many Alabama players from this roster would you draft?
Stop the cap. Stop the motherfucker.
Outside of Jameer
How many
Gibbs
Alabama
on the
players
offense,
on that
outside of
roster
Jameer Gibbs,
were former 5-star players
I'm just asking,
and 4-star players coming into college? Don't do that. Don't sit here and act like you got a fucking bunch of bums on the offensive line in that backfield and sitting there in that wide receiver room. Don't do that. That's not true. You have a better roster than most of college football. That's hands down. Every year.
but not Ohio State. So again, we're
so
talking about Ohio State.
You're gonna say Ohio State had a better roster
or Bowling Green.
Well,
so
Ohio State has better.
I'm gonna say that off at the receivers, yes, the offensive line was better. You can go to ratings. You can go to the people who aren't fans of the teams and look at how they rated them. You can again look at the NFL draft and say that the Ohio State receiver is looking to be the number 1 receiver drafted this year, and then next year a top 5 pick is going to be an Ohio State receiver. Neither of which is happening for Alabama this year, and next year might be Malik Benson, who wasn't on the roster this year because he was a JUCO transfer.
But it happened the other years. Bryce Young was in college football, though. So
what happened was Bryce Young took him to the national championship game and was beating Georgia until John Mechie and Jameson Williams both went down. Williamson both went down with knee injuries, and he had Trayshawn Holden throw the ball to and no one to get open. So again, Jameer Gibbs was a great player, and that was who we had. But I think that Bryce Young had to do more.
Ja'Cory Brooks is not no bum, bro.
Ja'Cory Brooks is really good.
Here,
Ja'Cory Brooks. But again, agree to disagree.
Well, I mean, real quick, I just want to let Harold get in here because Harold's been a big supporter of Bryce Young throughout this entire process. So I want to hear how he feels about it, and then also in comparison to CJ Stroud, if there's any drawbacks there.
Similar to what I said before, I see him as 1A, 1B. I can like Bryce without disliking CJ.
Fair.
More of more of a gamer, more of he can do more when the. I know he's small, but he's always been small. He knows how to throw around and over linemen.
Do you worry that too much of his game is predicated off of his ability to make those plays, those like off-time plays?
I mean, it wasn't like every play was like that. I view it more as a skill than a downfall of having to scramble. I don't see him as like a Kyler Murray where every play it seems like he's running for his life. So that's not how I view it.
Induce, just because that's a point that you brought up. So I mean, do you feel the opposite? Do you feel like, even though I mean, obviously, like we're not saying every play because we're not trying to be hyperbolic about it, but it's like, and I would agree that it is a benefit, but at a certain point, like with Kyler Murray, for example, when it becomes like 60-70% of your game, and you rely on that option being there. And sometimes there's going to be teams that'll be able to scheme, and just their roster will be able to take that option away from you, or at least minimize it. That's where I get worried with Bryce Young. Although I am confident that if he's able to stay healthy, he'll be able to continue to. I have no issues with his skill. I agree with you, to be honest. The 1A, 1B. I don't think there's any quarterback that, aside from like a size concern, should be in the same breath as Bryce Young and CJ Stroud in this draft. From a talent perspective, you could say Anthony Richardson for sure, and I think he probably is above both of them as far as like just natural ability. But yeah, as far as playing quarterback, I think I agree with you completely, wholeheartedly. And Deuce, yeah, but did you want to push back on that? Really, the question was for you.
Yeah, I do think that a big part of 50% of his game is off timing, scramble, throws. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think in the NFL that will last him too long, in my opinion. I think that he will have to be put in a pretty good situation to where they're going to probably do a lot of play action, rollouts, all, just, scheme it up. I would like to see, he'd be pretty good in, I think, San Fran, a place like that. But it's
Talking about
like,
Bryce Young?
Bryce Young, I think, but is he going to get with an offensive coach like that that's going to be able to put him in the best situations,
Yeah. I was watching some of the draft breakdown that I was watching. All his phone dies, turned it back on, coming back in. All right, thank you, Lauren. I appreciate that. We're holding this so Paul can get his second overall pick. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that with Bryce Young, I agree. It's like kind of a matter of growing into the role of an NFL quarterback, and will a team be able to provide him enough time to do so? My one concern really is that in Alabama, when he was able to do that, and Paul even kind of touched on this, where he may not have had his wide receivers may not have been as good as CJ Stroud. He and CJ Stroud probably had the best offensive lines, like from tackle to tackle in college football. So when you're going against athletic defensive fronts, but you have that offensive line to combat it, even though when you're moving around, it gives you those lanes to move through. You know what I mean? Where if your offensive line is just not as elite, then, you have guys, filling up those gaps and playing you appropriately. So,
and this is just the way that I'm thinking about it when I'm evaluating the situation.
Yeah.
It's not that I think Bryce Young is a bad prospect coming out. Like you said, 1A, 1B. I would just say CJ Stroud for me is 1A, based on just what he showed he's been able to do in the pocket. And then, the big question mark was his athleticism and what he could do outside the pocket. And I watched, when he played Notre Dame, that's where he killed us, was outside the pocket on the run.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what the fuck? This dude keeps dropping dimes, So,
100%. And his arm talent I like, but then at the same time, I'm like, when I was watching some of the draft breakdown and stuff yesterday to prepare for this, somebody told me that in one of his meetings with a team that he said that he could throw the ball 55 yards. Which is not enough, to be honest. If you're saying you're maxing out at 55 yards. And that was part of the concern that they were talking about. They're like, hey, 55 yards. Like you have Will Levis, for example, is throwing the ball 55 yards through uprights on his knees.
Yeah, it's true. But I think he probably was saying that to like the team like the Browns or something,
Trying to scare him away.
Yeah.
And also maybe that speaks to he's just like super honest, you know what I mean? Like brutally honest with himself and saying like, hey, I feel very comfortable within 55 yards. Thank you again, Lauren.
But accurately, but that's an accurate, if he's
that's
talking
what I'm
about
saying.
55 on the, if I can throw 60 yards, 65 and it's just going to drop wherever on the sideline. I mean, okay.
Wherever it lands. So
if I can put it on your outside shoulder at 55 yards or back shoulder at 55 yards, that's fucking beautiful.
Now, Lauren, actually, we got Paul's pick got phoned in because his phone died. So he's hopping back on. But he did phone in his pick. And do you have any guess what that might be? Matter of fact, I'm going to throw you on the screen here real quick. I hope you don't mind. Will Anderson at 2. So we're going back to back Bama.
Wow.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about that? And do you think that there's any do you think it's an option to trade out of that position for Houston?
They're definitely trading out of it. They're definitely not picking him in Will Anderson.
crazy happens at 1, then yeah, the phone will be ringing at 2 for sure. Like if Bryce doesn't go 1, someone's trying to get up to get Bryce.
No, I agree. I think the Colts definitely are making that call. Because I think the Colts probably prefer not to be picking Anthony Richardson or Will Levis, two of the quarterbacks in this draft class that I think have some of the biggest question marks as far as like obviously that we anticipate to still be starters possibly. So yeah, Will Levis. I mean, how do you guys feel about this? I mean, really, I feel like we could circle back and talk about this more. So Paul can explain that when he gets back in the live stream. But do you guys think it's the wrong pick? Is there somebody else you would have picked here?
Anderson.
What's that? That's the Texans.
Texans picking it too. Yep, Will Anderson.
I would say honestly, they probably go Jalen Carter.
Wow. So you think they definitely don't go quarterback? They have Davis Mills as their starting quarterback right now.
Jalen Carter. They're still a lot away. They're gonna go Jalen Carter.
Okay. And with Jalen Carter, go ahead, here.
I could definitely see them going defense with having the 2 picks. It's D'Amico Ryans, new head coach, obviously defense. He just watched the last pick in the draft at quarterback, take his team on a run. So, I mean, it totally made sense when I started hearing about, they weren't actually committed to a quarterback at 2. It kind of makes sense with the 2 picks.
Now, when we say 1A, 1B for CJ Stroud, we don't feel like he's a quarterback that you can't pass on if you need one.
But if you have the 12th pick also.
And the quarterback that's going to be available there, I mean, how much of a drop-off from CJ Stroud do you think there is? I think significant. I think honestly, after CJ Stroud's gone, I think it's a total coin flip as whether or not you're getting a quarterback that's going to be a franchise quarterback, and I'm even including Anthony Richardson in that, obviously.
Yeah, no, I just think it's Jalen Carter at 2, man.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's Jalen Carter. To me, with D'Amico Ryans understanding that. With San Fran, they built their defense off their, interior line and expanded outwards. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just think that's where they'll go. And he's just too good of a prospect. I mean, even when the other guy came out last year and went to the Eagles, they were talking about Jalen Carter.
You're not worried about
No. I don't need my defensive tackles nice. I don't need them nice. I need them mean, nasty. Yes, I need them getting in trouble off the field. We have good lawyers.
I need to get in trouble.
I need me a Warren Sapp. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, brother. I don't. Win Super Bowls, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're here to win Super Bowls. What that dude say? Win, baby, win. Yeah. Come on now. Jalen Carter at 2. All right. Will Anderson just seems too nice to me.
Well, so I got a question.
You remember the Bosa brothers when they came out? They were just nasty. You could just tell they weren't nice people.
I mean, they seem like arrogant dickheads. Yeah.
Exactly. I need that rushing from my defensive end.
What's going on here?
Lions views Will Anderson as his Nick Bosa, and he.
One thing I love the Will Anderson pick. I really don't have any issues with it at all. I think that a lot of the talk coming from him, he was very productive. Not last year, but the year before, extremely productive. All the talk around him is high character issues. So I think that does come into play when you're talking about picking in the top 5, because how likely, and that's why I take CJ Stroud if I'm in that position, most likely, because, you're going to be doing everything you can. I'm adding you, Paul. You're going to be doing everything you can to avoid ever picking in this position again, obviously. So the likelihood that you land in this position to get this level of prospect again, especially in the near future, is, probably not super likely. Paul, go ahead and tell us about the Will Anderson pick. We haven't moved on yet. Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, I got you now. Yes, sir. So go ahead and I don't know if you heard me, but go ahead and tell us about the Will Anderson pick. We haven't moved on from that pick yet.
All right. So with Will Anderson,
Brother, you're freezing. It might be because you're.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and just say this about Jalen Carter real quick. Then.
Well, it's actually about to be your pick, Paul. I'm gonna take you out of here just so you can try to figure out your situation. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Okay. Do you think that you're good now, or do you want to hop off and try to figure out your?
Nah, I should be good. Yeah, I should be good.
Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, no, basically, man, with Will Anderson, I think it's a legacy pick for D'Amico Ryans. So you got D'Amico Ryans, who's a legendary Alabama linebacker, who has the opportunity to draft another.
All right, brother, you froze again, so I think it might
All
not.
right,
Be
that's a sign they're going Jalen Carter right
Yeah,
there.
we're gonna
brother.
give you. We're gonna give you just a second here. I'm gonna take you out of the mainstream, and you're still here, so I can bring you back in. But if you want to maybe plug up to a charger or something, or maybe switch devices, that's up to you. But we're gonna come right back to you, Paul. Denzel, I want to go ahead and move to this this next pick because this is actually yours, I believe, and it is the Arizona Cardinals. So where are you thinking?
Arizona Cardinals, right
New head
now.
coach,
Okay.
new head coach, by the way, new defensive coordinator from Philadelphia.
Wanted, so let's see if you.
Also, trading is an option, but like I said, it's going to be something we have to discuss.
I could see a very big trade coming with the Cardinals at at 3. I don't really see them drafting at 3, other than
Jalen Carter's right there, brother.
No, I mean, is Jalen Carter still out there? I mean,
Yeah,
I guess on this draft he is still out there. I definitely see a trade.
Bro.
I definitely see a trade. If I've said if they were going to draft anybody,
well, who do you see them trade with? Because I mean, we could do that. This would be a great point to do that. So if that's where you think they're going, I'm open to hear who you think they would trade. But if you want to, I mean, who they would draft. But if you think that it's a trade here, then let's do it.
Okay, so let's see. I see.
I'll move it down so you can see who potentially might want to trade up. Can you see that? So Colts draft next, Seahawks draft after that, Lions draft after that, Raiders draft after that, Falcons draft after that, and the Bears draft after that.
I can see the Seahawks trading up. I could see, I could see the Seahawks definitely trading up.
I think the Raiders would be a strong possibility. I think.
The Raiders too. Yeah, we could. I mean, either or.
Well, let's go ahead and bring it to the chat. Paul, I'm bringing you back in, brother. I don't know if you're good now.
Pick one. What do you think?
I personally think Raiders are more likely.
Let's go Raiders. I think Raiders. Let's see what the Raiders need. What do the Raiders need?
So then we're hopping into this trade situation. Oh, it actually says Raiders. All right. So the Raiders, obviously, they'd be giving up the 7th pick. They would probably be giving up. Do you think a first rounder for next year or second rounder this year? What do you think would be happening?
It's usually 2 firsts.
2 firsts? You think it'll take 2 firsts to get it done? What about you? What about you, Harold?
It's a 3rd pick, 2 firsts for sure.
Yeah.
I would say the swap the first round picks first next year, and then maybe like a 3rd this year or something like that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Paul, are you back with us, brother? You good?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah,
now we're gonna go back to Willie Anderson in just 1 second, but I want to get your opinion on this. A trade at 3. How likely do you think that is? And then also, do you think this is fair compensation?
And yeah, they're getting. And I'm going to say they're going to draft with the pick they're drafting CJ Stroud.
The Raiders.
Yeah. The Raiders.
Go ahead.
I think that would make sense. That I think if the Raiders move up to 3, they would be for a quarterback, and then Arizona. I don't know what they would pick at 3. I mean, what's sitting there for them? I mean, outside of maybe going for like an edge rusher, with them losing JJ. So I mean, I don't really know.
Carter.
See, I personally I really like them going for Jalen Carter. Personally, I think it makes sense. The guy coming over from Philadelphia, it makes sense he would want to get like a Fletcher Cox sort of player. You know what I mean? So I mean, to me, it makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. This is actually saying that they would not accept that trade. I think. Oh no, right there.
Oh,
all right, so we're gonna go.
They would tell you.
Yeah, it's the likelihood.
Came out.
What was that?
Kyler already came out and said he wants Paris Johnson Jr., the tackle from
You're
Ohio
right.
State.
He did say that shit.
He's a dumbass. That dude fucking sucks. You might as well. Peter Skoronsky. I mean, he's a guard.
Peter Skoronsky's
at least
good.
He's gonna fucking be he'll be an all-pro guard. I mean,
Wow, so this right here, this draft simulator, which I think they're on crack, but we're gonna have to do this just to make it go through. Actually, it might not let you do trades. Yeah, it won't let you do trades without the premium version of the app. But this is interesting. So it actually says it wouldn't go through. It says that the Cardinals, or no, the Raiders wouldn't accept sending them a first rounder for next year and a first rounder for this year. Like once I do that, it says it's 76% likely to be traded.
But they're getting a first rounder back, and then they probably give him a fifth.
It's 4 spots though.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess the problem is the third rounder for this year, they're not going for that. It would have to be like in the hundreds here, 109. They would take it. So either way, all right. Well, we'll have to pick it. We can't do a trade, unfortunately. I thought they would let us.
All right. Well, Jalen Carter would be the pick, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to take Wilson.
Kyler wants to tackle, man. Kyler wants to tackle.
Wow. So you see a possibility for Peter Skronsky or what's the dude from Ohio
He'll get his tackle next year.
Paris Johnson.
Yep. Get his tackle next year. That's such a horrible thing to hear as a quarterback. We'll protect you next year.
It's a better, or he'll get one in free agency temporary. They'll draft one with a better tackle.
Hey, brother, this is your pick, and I mean, I do think it makes sense, just because of the guy coming over from being defensive minded, same kind of thing with Will Anderson. It's interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
Why would I get to a tackle when you're just gonna run the fuck around anyway?
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm not drafting a fucking tackle for you. You're just gonna run out of the pocket and fucking throw the ball all over the place. No, fuck you. I'm getting a defensive tackle who's gonna anchor my defense. Because I just lost JJ Watt, and I just saw what a defensive tackle can do when they can anchor your defense. Like, get the fuck out.
Let's do it. Now, Harold, you're up, and in my opinion, actually, we're going back to Will Anderson real quick. My bad, Harold.
Oh yeah,
Paul. Yeah, tap me in on Will Anderson. The thought process behind that legacy pick. I remember you said that.
All right, yes. So basically, you got Alabama connections. Both played the same position. Will Anderson, man. He's an outside linebacker who is the SEC leader all time and in the season for tackle for losses and sacks. The guy is the best defensive player that I've ever seen come out of the University of Alabama, and I think that D'Amico Ryans has the ability the opportunity to draft somebody that, again, he has connections with, that can anchor that defense. It's the type of system that he will run. And again, he just came from San Francisco, man, where they plug and played 3 different quarterbacks and made it to the NFC Championship game. So I don't think that he'll be so gun-ho on trying to take a quarterback. And I understand that Jalen Carter, like how he is. I think that they're both the best player in the draft, whichever way you want to look at how you want to build your defense. I just think that getting after the quarterback is a name of the game right now on the defense side of the ball. So you getting the guy who is better than anybody else to walk through college football in the past decade, at least statistically speaking, Denzel. You take that.
Will Anderson.
I'm Will Anderson, again, statistically speaking. So he has more sacks, more tackles for loss, more QB pressures, more tackles than Aiden Hutchinson, Chase Young, or Myles Garrett, name them. I mean, again, he leads the SEC, and he's one of the leading in the nation in the record books.
Yeah, my problem is
I think that it's a home run hit.
This year he struggled, and he wasn't really a factor in a lot of games.
He won. Okay, so see, and this is where this is where you're not understanding. Will Anderson actually asked Nick Saban for his draft stock and for him to prepare for the NFL. They used him in coverage a lot. He still led the SEC in sacks. He still won Defensive Player of the Year for the country and the SEC. He didn't have a drop-off in production really at all. It's just that he was double-teamed, triple-teamed, and he dropped in coverage. And if you watch Alabama games, I mean, you can pull up film. They ran the ball the opposite way of Will Anderson, probably 70 to 80% of the run plays. So they tried to scheme him out. They couldn't scheme him out. Again, man, he is unbelievably talented. You're going to see it. So, but I think that's the
best defensive player you've ever seen come out of Alabama is huge praise. So, I mean,
I don't know, bro. Again, man, you got to think about this, though. To me, he doesn't have a lot of bend. I don't know. Seems stiff.
You
He's going to play against
said-
all pro tackles.
Yeah. Again, man, his first step is unbelievable. DeMarcus Ware. I mean, that's you had that first step. That's what really matters a lot. And I think his bend's fine. And again, he's really crafty with his moves. He's quick. But I heard you say something about you think he's too nice. Again, you got to look at his quote about
Like he's a dickhead.
the reason why he plays football. He's nice on the field, but the reason why he plays football, he says, is to hurt the quarterback. So it's like, I don't know. The guy's a dickhead on the field.
Well, Paul, I want to actually just double down on what you're saying, because in my opinion, because you mentioned D'Amico Ryans, I think if I'm putting myself in his position, coming into a franchise, I've never been a head coach before. Don't be wrong, I want to have people that are aggressive on the football field, but I don't think you can overrate the high character part of Will Anderson's profile here. I mean, I think it was Nick Saban that said he's the hardest player that he's ever coached at Alabama. Is that right, Paul? You could probably from that.
Yes,
okay. Yeah. So I mean, all those kind of things, that only means, in my opinion, that you're going to continue to be able to duplicate your success. And Paul, I want to let you go ahead.
And the only other player that Nick Saban has given praise like that to is Mika. So, and you look at the type of player Mika is. So again, you got a high character guy, locker room guy, a guy who can change the culture on the field and off the field. And Jalen Carter, like you said, that's a good point, man. I didn't even think about him being a first-year head coach. Do you want your pick, your first pick? This is your legacy, right? This is it. To be a guy that, I hate to say, has character issues, but racing cars after the Henry Ruggs incident. I mean,
he's not the GM. He's not the GM though, bro.
I'm sure he has. Come on, dude. They're going to set him up to be successful.
But Nick Caserio comes from New England, which is another thing. They don't take quarterbacks high. He's not part of that. And I think that the guy that takes, Kirby Smart's part of that Nick Saban tree. But again, I think that they'll take the Nick Saban player. And again, I think that this is a
yeah.
Yeah,
well, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick. But Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, that New England connection is super strong and clear.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They're not like shy about that. But go ahead.
No, they're not shy. But yeah, no. I could be wrong, but I think that this would be the pick that D'Amico Ryans would probably be foaming out of the mouth for, outside of Bryce Young dropping to him. But again, he's a defensive-minded coach, built coming from a program that ran defensive football, gets us to the championship. This is that Bo's the type of player who had more production in college. So, and honestly, dude, Will Anderson's a guy at Alabama that played literally every position in the front seven. They would put him at Mike, Will, Sam. They put him at Rover. They put him at the 3 technique. He played some nose guard and then on both ends. And he's 6'4", 253. So it's like he's a guy that's multi-talented. So I think that that's the pick. Again, Jalen Carter is also a sexy pick there, but I just think that that Alabama connection runs very deep.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now let's go ahead and let's get Harold in here on the 4th pick. So you got the Indianapolis Colts pick. I mean, to be honest, I can't imagine this draft works out much better for them. But let's hear who they pick. You hear me, brother? Harold? I'm not looking at you guys right now, so I can't see if there's anything going on. Yo, Harold?
Yo, big dog.
I think you might be muted somehow. I don't know. It doesn't say you're muted, but I just saw your lips move. I didn't hear you. Still no. Damn. Oh. Let's see. I'm going to mute you and unmute you maybe. All right. Can you go ahead and try again? No, super bizarre. Okay. Edit mic setting. Echo cancellation. Here, do you want to drop out and then hop right back in, brother?
Just trash this one. Not keep going.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, before he makes his pick, I kind of wanted to talk about, I'm assuming it's going to be CJ Stroud. And I mean, I can't imagine the Indianapolis Colts, who were faced with the prospect of drafting a quarterback in Anthony Richardson. And I've heard people talk about having him sit for a year to 2 years. And then CJ Stroud falls right into your lap. I can't imagine, that works out much better than that for them.
You get the best quarterback in the draft right there.
Harold.
Okay. So what if – oh, go ahead. My bad.
Yeah, that's right here. Go ahead. Absolutely not. That's bizarre. Yeah, I don't literally the whole time, right when it gets to your pick.
Hold on.
Oh, I think I could hear you now. Go ahead, say something again. No, maybe that was somebody else.
What if they go wild and take Will Levis?
We could do this. I mean, honestly, I can't imagine a scenario.
Wait, John Luke is Jim Irsay still the GM over there?
Well, he's the owner. He's the owner. And remember, Will Levis on. If you take Andrew Luck and put him in shorts next to Will Levis, you're going to look at the same guy. So now that's not saying the same player. Not the same player. I'm just saying, could he fall in love with that body type?
Paul, real quick. Now, Harold, I think I can hear some echoing now, so I'm gonna let you know, but I think it might be you. Go ahead and try. Maybe not, because I don't hear you. I don't hear you speaking. Hello. Paul, it might be your mic that's echoing, maybe. I don't know. Well, Harold, brother, I don't know. I have no idea why your mic's not working. That's insane. You hopped out, hopped back in for sure. That works usually.
You did the old in and out.
Yeah, you did the old in and out. Still not. I'm gonna try to turn you up. Yeah. So, well, here, real quick, if you wanna, if you can, type in the chat. Let us know who you're taking, and we can do the same thing we did for Paul. While you try to figure that out, we'll move on and we'll circle back to your pick.
But no, I mean, honestly though, I think CJ Stroud would definitely be that pick, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, I think for sure for the Colts, it's like
at 4. I mean, if all those teams are dumb enough to pass on him.
But here's the thing though, just like my thing with Houston wanting to pass up a quarterback. I mean, think about next year's draft. If you could be in line to get Drake May or Caleb Williams, you don't think that both of them are better than CJ Stroud?
Jalen Carter and Will Anderson, you're saying? My bad, I missed you because I was responding.
No. Caleb Williams and Drake May better than CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I think both of those guys have the potential to be better than anybody in this draft, to be honest, as far as quarterbacks go. I like both because I like both of their games and I like both of their builds. So I mean, there's just they're like quarterbacks built in a factory. Aside from, CJ Williams, Caleb Williams is a little bit smaller than Drake May even, but still he's thick. And so I don't know. So for me and Denzel, we've been going back and forth on this a lot as far as who we like more between Caleb Williams and Drake Mays. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think you can go wrong there, but it's just to count on drafting at 1 or 2 because those guys probably aren't falling from 1 or 2.
Right.
I don't know. You gotta. Statistically speaking, which this isn't exact, but I mean, you have a 2 in 32 chance to be that team that has an opportunity to take them.
If you can make it to where you have good odds. Again, like Houston, Indy's in a different situation, I guess, because their roster is better. Houston, I just look at it as look, man, your roster's pretty bad. You build a team first, then draft the quarterback because it shows that if you have a quarterback that has a team around them, Brock Purdy can take you to an NFC Championship game. But if you have the best quarterback in the league,
don't do that. Oh my God, don't do that. That man.
Oh God, Brock! That's not an insult to Brock Purdy, but he's not a top 5 quarterback. He's not a top 10 quarterback. He's not a top 15 quarterback.
Yeah, but the thing is, the 49ers are kind of in the position to where they need something like that to work, or actually they already went and they had to trade to get in the position to draft a Trey Lance. You know what I mean? So that's kind of not the nightmare scenario because they are coached well enough and the team's good enough to make do with what they have there and put themselves in the position. But, it's just you're counting on a lot to have a basically a football genius with Kyle Shanahan and then just John Lynch and whoever you want to give the responsibility for building a elite team. Harold, do you want to try to speak? I didn't see your because I can't see your mouth right now, but I don't know if you tried to speak, but I can't hear you, brother. But yeah, Paul, do you have a response to that?
Yeah, again, it's just to have the idea of building a team before you throw a quarterback into the wolves. Because again, it's not guaranteed that these quarterbacks are going to be the best things, walking the earth. So I just think that if you give a quarterback a team that you're better off with building a team around a quarterback that you don't know what they're going to be, because it gives them more leeway to fuck up, I guess. You have better receivers to get open. They're not having to throw perfect passes as rookies. You have an offensive line that's giving them some time. Your defense isn't giving up 30 points a game to where now they feel that as if they have to press the entire game and score so many points, which then causes more mistakes and, has them overlook some things. Some quarterbacks can come in and really pick up the system, but they're also in good situations.
Well, I have a question. I think this will lead directly into like our Anthony Richardson conversation as well. Where do you think that there is a substitute for experience when it comes to learning? Like, do you think sitting on the sideline with a clipboard, do you think that's as effective?
I think it all depends on your makeup, on how you learn, because some people can learn by seeing it and visually seeing it, and okay, well, I see them make that mistake and I won't make that mistake, and other people gotta get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
So, but again, you have people who, if they get punched in the mouth too often and too hard, they're gonna fold. And so I guess that's tough, because I guess it all really depends on really the situation. Anthony Richardson, I wouldn't throw into the Wolves. I look at who he is. I think he's immature mentally, and I think that he really needs some grooming. If I'm Seattle.
Whoa, relax. Oh my gosh.
No, I can see what you mean by that, though.
So hold on. So at his pro day, this again is your biggest job interview. He thought it was a great idea to, while he has accuracy concerns, to throw a ball as far up in the sky as he can inaccurately and hit the ceiling to show what everybody already knows: you have a strong arm. That's immaturity. I'm sorry. It is what it is. The Florida Gators were not a good team. Like,
can you stop?
Hey, James,
can
you're
you
a Gators
stop?
fan, right?
Yep.
James, you're a Gators fan?
Dude,
are you upset that Anthony Richardson is gone?
Yeah. I mean, not. I mean, it's
exactly.
It's tough. Well, it's tough to say, because like going into this, so because of what everybody's salivating about now, I guess to a certain extent, but to I guess answer your question the way that you were looking for, he definitely underachieved and was disappointing and frustrating. Would make me want to pull my fucking hair out. Coming into the season, we were expecting him to be a Heisman contender,
right?
And then obviously
is that a top 3 pick,
that wasn't the case. Well, you're talking about potential and like teams that think that they could actually get the most out of him. Maybe in Florida, we had a new head coach. Maybe Billy Napier wasn't able to get the most out of Anthony Richardson. So the argument being, same thing with like Josh Allen. There was tools there that made you want to draft him, but his production in college really wasn't that great, especially the senior year was actually piss poor. He threw like 55% completion percentage. I think like just over 20 touchdowns. So it wasn't anything that makes you feel like you need to go get the guy from a production standpoint, but you just see the natural tools there. And if you're a competent coach that feels like you can actually utilize those and get the most out of them, then I don't know. It's hard to pass up on them if you have confidence in yourself and you see the tools there. The tools are undeniable. But
right.
Go ahead.
So if I'm Seattle, I'm taking them.
No, I was going to say Seattle's a great spot for him. I agree
because again, Steve Carroll is great with quarterbacks. Geno Smith is a seasoned veteran. He's a mature man who I think that he could connect with Anthony Richardson. I think that Anthony Richardson would listen to someone like Geno. Isn't Geno from Florida? So I think that it's that would be the place for him to go. And if he goes there, then Anthony Richardson in 2-3 years could be playing at a very high level. I just don't think that if he goes in a situation where he has to play now, it's beneficial to him. I think that because again, I watched a lot of Florida games. Lauren's a Florida fan, so there are a lot of times where, and correct me if I'm wrong, that when he would miss those 3, 4, 5 passes in a row, where you see his head really hanging.
Oh yeah,
and then he's off, dude. He's off the rails, and there's nothing bringing him back. And then you guys are going from a close game to getting blown out, and it's like, so if that's happening in college, I don't want his confidence to get shot in the NFL. And there's no way, dude. You're a lot of times you overthrow the way he does is because you're pressing so hard. And when you press so hard, it's because you want to make that tough pass. You want to throw it so hard. And
All right. Well, I'm gonna say this. He had way better. He has way better. He's gonna have way better coaching. You know what I'm saying? In the NFL, he's gonna have a way better system. He's gonna have way better players around him. I think he'll be all right. But if he's not good, we'll find out pretty quick.
But no, Paul's point isn't that, like, he is saying that he very well may be all right in the NFL, but he's saying as far as from a mental perspective, you want to protect that. I actually agree with that, to be honest. I watched all of Anthony Richardson's games that he played in college, and there's no doubt that, like, some of the same criticism that Cam Newton would get with having like a towel over his fucking head on the sideline and shit, Anthony Richardson exhibited that same kind of like lack of confidence body language. Now, I mean, I don't know that maybe you do work through that through playing to a certain extent. I don't know, but I mean, I think there's credence to what you're saying because of that. He definitely exhibited poor body language, and I mean, if that's the star of your team, I worry about how that impacts the guys that are looking to him as the guy to make a play.
Exactly. Right. I agree.
Now, Harold, do you want to try to speak again? Is it possibly? And then, if not, we're going to move on to the next pick. But say that one more time.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes, sir.
All right, so CJ Stroud, brother.
Yeah, I think the Colts are very happy he's still on the board at 4, and they're run to the podium with the card. And yeah,
you said a lot. No, I hear you. This is like, honestly, this is, I think, probably the easiest pick in the draft so far, in my opinion. If CJ Stroud's available at 4, I think that's an easier decision. I mean, and from where the Indianapolis Colts were picking, I think he fits their scheme beautifully. They're going to be able to protect him pretty good. I do think he needs a few weapons, but that's something that I think you can figure out. But didn't they just lose Michael Pittman, I think? Or he might still be there. Anybody else that sound familiar? I could be wrong.
No, I think he's still there.
He's still there. Okay. So, I mean, either way, I think that they do lack. What was that, brother?
Yeah.
He's still there. Okay. So you got Jonathan Taylor. So that's going to be great to bring him along in the NFL, not put too much pressure on him. They have a decent defense that I think with a few improvements, they could be towards like a top 10 defense. So, I mean, yeah, I love this pick. I agree with Harold. I think that this is they're sprinting to the podium to make this pick. So now we have the Seattle Seahawks on the clock. This would be my pick, and this is the 5th overall pick that they got from Russell Wilson, the Russell Wilson trade. I think that, me personally,
give him the middle finger.
I think after just signing Geno Smith to a long-term deal, I think they don't hesitate to take a chance on Anthony Richardson's long-term prospects. So this is another pick that I think is pretty solid. They might consider offensive line here to protect Geno, because they were a playoff team this year. So they do have the potential to contend. But yeah, I think that's a. Let me see something real quick. Kind of curious if we'll pick again. They pick in the 20th. Yeah. So they pick 20th again. Yeah, I think that's there's going to be an opportunity. There might be a good tackle on the board at that point. Because I think some of them are dropping. We haven't had any tackles come off the board so far, for example. And the only tackle that I think is a top 10 pick in this year is probably Skoronski. But I could see Paris hopping up there and surprising us. But either way, yeah. So I think Anthony Richardson is solid pick there. You guys have any? It's obviously a long-term pick. It's a future pick. It's not. I don't think he will play this year or potentially next year. But 3 years down the line, I think he could be a pretty scary start. What do you guys think?
I agree. This is a good pick. Sit him behind. I don't think he plays at all this year.
Yeah, and I think it's a benefit because he's coming in. I think expecting to not start right away, so you don't have that pressure from a coach to player relationship. I think he's expecting to come in and have to learn. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna mute really well. All right, Deuce Andretti, you're muted, brother. Harold, did you say something? And Paul, did you have anything to say
Yeah,
about Anthony Richardson?
No, like I said, this I think is the best spot for him. I think this is the perfect landing spot, and I think that with his arm talent, with DK Metcalf, and then whoever else they bring in, I think that this is a great landing spot. I just hope that Pete Carroll, whoever his predecessor is somebody that runs a system that's built for the man.
Yeah,
I wish nothing but the best for him. I hope he does well. Like I said, I just don't see him doing well anywhere other than probably Seattle or wherever he can sit. Wherever he can sit. Let me say that. Like I'm talking about these early picks. Like,
well, something you just mentioned, the predecessor comment, it actually kind of makes me think about it again. I think Pete Carroll, it might not be the case now, but it was one of these years I was watching a game and they said that Pete Carroll was the oldest active coach. Is that
he's like 72 years old?
Yeah. So I mean, I wonder how much of him is not, because I hear people in the media talk about it with like Jerry Jones and stuff a lot. Where it's like how much of him wants to see a Super Bowl, wants to make it to a Super Bowl, in Pete Carroll's case, in his career, what he has left of his career, and in Jerry Jones' case, obviously, his career is just until he dies. So, so yeah, I don't know. That does make me kind of think about it from a different perspective. Is he going to be looking for immediate help, so they can be immediately more productive? Because from his own perspective, just he has to be thinking about the fact that he's probably only going to be coaching for 3-4 more years in general. Go ahead.
Right, but well, I don't know, and that's the thing. I mean, he could coach for honestly got another 8 years. I mean, the guy is one of these guys who he bikes, he hikes the mountains, he runs for like 10 miles a day. He is an active guy. So if he's somebody that if his health is good, he's going to coach for as long as he can. So that's one way I think that I'm looking at it, to where I think that there is 3 or 4 years. And another thing is, with the emergence of all these new offenses, all the new ways that you can scheme guys, right? With Taysom Hill and what he was able to do, imagine Anthony Richardson his first year in just that type of role. There isn't a better player in the NFL for that type of role. So I don't think that the talent will be wasted on the bench. I think that, like I said, like that situation where he can just be that backup, he can just learn and then just come in and throw a fucking bomb to DK Metcalf like he did at Florida. Again, at Florida, what was it? He'd have 3-4 humongous plays in like 0 drives. So let him come in, be those humongous plays. And then once all that money, all that dead cap is off June's contract, he's ready to roll.
I think another possibility for them is Tyke Smith. Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher out of Texas Tech. I think he's another option for them. They like edge rushers. They usually draft them in the first round. They maybe feel Anthony Richardson they can get in the later rounds because he's not really a high commodity. But that's just just something I'm was looking at.
Yeah, I could see that. Definitely. Not Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, that's not a bad thought. Because it could.
Who's next on the clock?
Huh?
Who's next on the clock?
James good.
It's my turn.
I'm next. Where did James go?
I don't know. I think it's Detroit. I think Detroit has. I think this is the first corner possible.
Detroit's yeah, I was if trades out of that and
they need tight end, they need cornerback, they need defensive line, and they need interior line. Is what the draft says.
Yeah, they just traded.
You know what?
So basically, what I have was up.
They said team needs are tight end, cornerback, D-line,
Yeah.
and interior offensive lineman.
Right. So my thought process is, let's say like the trade happens, Arizona trades out, and Jalen Carter's not there. I think Detroit takes them here. But if it plays out that we're doing it, then I think that they're doing out of Illinois, the cornerback.
Yeah, I think they definitely go cornerback.
And they're gonna go corner, and I think it roll the dice.
Did Skoronski? Did we already get Skoronski off the board?
No, he's still there.
Because they could go line, but I think
No,
they
he's
definitely
still on the
probably
board.
they could go line. But Skoronski's not a tackle. He's a guard.
Yeah, I like
Where's James?
Gonzalez corner from Oregon. I think he's the pick.
Yeah. The problem is, I think they're going to want the guy that seems more durable, and I think I'm with Paul. I think they probably go the cornerback out of Illinois, Witherspoon. He's physical. You know what I mean? Seems like, But I do like Gonzalez. He's a freak, man. He runs like a 4.39 and a 40.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
All right, hold up. Wait a minute.
It's just for me.
All right, yes, sir. All right, y'all can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah, so my internet's back good. Let me see. I think I gotta re-share this draft screen. All right, yes, sir. They tried to shut us down. Technical difficulties. Go fuck yourself, NFL. All right, so who on the Lions? I don't know if we finished up the Seahawks conversation.
I got the Lions.
Okay, you got the Lions.
I got the Lions. Yeah, so basically, if the draft went differently and Arizona was not picking there, I had Detroit taking Jalen Carter, but I got to taking Devin Witherspoon in this draft. So I think that if that generational D tackle isn't there, that they can stick next to Aiden Hutchinson, then they're going to go corner. And again, I think it's a roll of the dice at which corner goes where. But I just think that they'll go ahead and go with the Big Ten kid. They'll go with Devin Witherspoon.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I like that. I'm pulling up his stats right now. I did when I was doing some research on players over the past week or so. He was somebody that popped up, and then I saw a lot of comparisons to Sauce Gardner. I was like, sheesh. And then, on the tape, I could see why.
Yeah, excellent hits.
Josh is,
and he's rangy for only being 6 foot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Josh is a little wiry to me. This guy's got some build to him. This Witherspoon kid's got the build to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the rangy aspect that for him only being 6 foot, you wouldn't expect him to be, basically play as long as he does. I just think
his measurables are saying
like
5'11", but I'm not trying. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to rate on your.
Oh yeah, 5'11", 6 foot, whatever.
Yeah,
with cleats on. What the fuck is he? All right.
I got these this little draft breakdown for him. Witherspoon had one of the best seasons we've ever graded from a college cornerback. He was targeted 63 times in 2022 and allowed only 22 catches for 206 yards with 3 picks and 14 pass breakups. That comes out to 3.3 yards per target. He's one of the feistiest corners in this class. They say his role is an island number 1 corner. See, I need to not look at this because now I'm high, so I'll read shit like that forever. That's like just how I am. Yeah, I get high. I'll just be like, okay, let me read every single piece of this fucking screen. All right, so we are on to. I like that pick personally. The Lions they're a good team. It seems like they've been building something special over there for a while. I think they're probably waiting for the right circumstance. They're going to compete like this is a crazy comparison to make, and I don't mean that they are on this level by any means. I definitely don't think Dan Campbell is to the level of a Kyle Shanahan, but they do remind me of the 49ers in that sense, where the entire team looks like it's coming together before they're ever going to really have that quarterback that takes them to the next level. And I do really like Dan Campbell as just a player's coach and a culture kind of guy. So I love that pick. So Denzel, Duce Andretti, brother, it's your turn.
All right. Yeah, I love that pick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do you have any comments on it? You're a secondary guy.
Yeah, I love that pick, man.
Okay. You're the Raiders, by the way.
I think that Witherspoon is a stud.
Hey, the running water, brother. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little. Distracting. I'm just gonna mute you temporarily. You're all good. You can unmute yourself whenever. All right, Bubba Chuck.
He was definitely pissing.
Yeah, he's like, thank you for saying that was water. But yeah, so go ahead. You're the Raiders.
We're the Raiders.
Yep. I can you see the prospects I have on the screen just to give you a reminder if you didn't have anybody in mind?
Raiders. No, I got the prospects in front of me here.
Oh, nice.
Let me look at their team needs real quick.
Team needs here. We got QB, offensive line, defensive inside, and
safety.
Safety.
Okay, so I got tackle, interior line, safety, and D line.
Okay.
I mean,
you not have a fucking opinion. You know how the Raiders played. You know what their weaknesses were this year. Who do you fucking take?
I think they take. No, I think they take Joey Porter.
Oh, that's a crazy reach.
Dude, don't take him away from Pittsburgh. Go.
It's the Raiders. It's the Raiders, dude. That's Joey Porter. He's rated like the 12th prospect in this draft. What do you mean?
Fuck no. Bro, Joey Porter's not getting drafted ahead of Christian Gonzalez. Bro, no way.
He probably moves to safety in the NFL. I'm telling you, dude.
Bro, you're bugging right now. Look, come on, gang.
Like we set up an all-pro Joey Porter. Come on now, dude.
Every year, though, teams reach all the time. I think he's better.
All right, yeah, I guess you're right. That's why you have to have one dumbass drafting with you, so you can duplicate what stupid teams would do. So Joey Porter, defend this pick at least. At least defend it. He's big.
Listen, his size.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 6'3", 193. He runs a 4.4.
I gotta be honest. First off, our measurables, which is the one thing that shouldn't be off, is way off for everybody. Like you and Paul have given both these guys an extra inch. Paul's.
I'm looking at it. It says 6'3".
Hey yo. Yeah, go ahead. My bad.
It says 6'3" on CBS, but
on PFF it says 6'2", but it's fine. Go ahead. You're good. I'm just fucking with you, really.
They got him rated as an all-pro. He's a tall, rangy corner. I mean, he's an NFL, bloodline. I just think, there's not much not to like. And the Raiders are always known for picking, guys they fall in love with. I could see them fall in love with Joey Porter and be like, all right, yeah, that's our pick. Because you can also probably play him at safety with his size. He's 193 now. He'll probably be 215, 220, by the time the season starts.
Yeah. No, that's possible. This says right here that he's a press corner where he wins, getting a jam. I mean, yeah, what he needs to improve on, needless grabbing. He had a career year this year, past fall, allowing only 143 yards in 10 games.
Wow. Holy shit. That's really fucking good. That's really fucking good, dude.
Yeah, these motherfuckers are lock up. I'm not even going to lie to you.
God damn, dude, those are 14 yards a game, motherfucker. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we need to see what the fuck
His
they
team
did.
went 11-2. I mean,
what did Duce Andretti, man? I want to move on to this next pick, but if you could pull up what Ohio State did against Penn State, I'm curious if he's locked up like that.
There's nothing on him. God damn.
Yeah, must have had fucking 10 yards.
But honestly, teams, according to a show on YouTube, teams really take put a lot of weight into.
I mean, he scored 44 points.
Yeah, but
what was that?
It's not on Joey Porter.
Yeah. What was the passing yards and what was the receivers doing? But what were you saying, Paul? You said they put a lot of. You said they put a lot of stock in legacy.
Yeah, and basically him being like Joey Porter's son. You coming from an NFL family, because you grew up seeing what it
How it's done.
takes. You know the grind exactly.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
Yeah, and you got more to play for because you're playing for your name.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, I didn't even think of that part, but yeah, 100%, that makes sense. Like every day you're seeing what Joey Porter Sr. did to, be a professional.
Right.
So you hear the term all the time, like guys learning how to be pros. So I mean, that makes sense. All right, so Joey Porter, interesting,
So
man. You made we made a better case for him than you did, to be honest. But yeah, okay, go ahead. So,
I said what you said. I just didn't go on a spiel about it. I just
a spiel.
A
spiel.
YouTube
You
show.
mean you weren't entertaining? Got it. Okay.
So pass yards.
We're on
Pass
YouTube.
yards 354. Rush yards 98. So I mean, they did catch a lot of receiving yards and shit. But
well, do you have like what individual receivers did? I'm wondering like if what receiver may have went off and if he was like, is he shadowing guys? I don't know. I mean, like I said,
honestly,
I'm wondering what you know about him.
All right, so Marvin Harrison had 185. Garrett Stover had 78. Abuka had 53, and Fleming had 27.
Huh.
So basically, Marvin Harrison had the only receiving yards. I mean, other than Stover. Stover had 6 catches for 78 yards. Abuka had 8 catches. No, he had 6 catches for 53. So I mean, yeah, Marvin Harrison went off. So obviously, that's where all his,
Well, and to be clear, Paul did say earlier,
177 yards he gave up probably keeps him this game.
Well, and Paul did give the praise to Marvin Harrison Jr. earlier that he's the best college wide receiver he thinks he's ever seen. So, I was just thinking about that
And
as an
that's
outlier.
including my dog Julio Jones, man.
Yeah, that's nuts. All right, so Joey Porter's off the board. That's nuts. All right, so Harold, you keep on coming on the board, man, and I feel like the board's just falling your way. You know what I mean? Like you have fucking idiots drafting. Never mind. I was just playing with you. Bubba Chuck saw there was a run on corners coming, and also Harold, you might be muted, brother. Oh, there you go. Lock in. All right, yes, sir. I got you.
Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlantic. Yes, sir.
Steve Levis, Bijan. Go down.
They need a QB, corner, linebacker, or safety.
Nolan Smith. I just want to throw him out there.
Shut the fuck up.
Buzz about Bijan to Atlanta too, like a lot. So
yeah, definitely. I think the report was that he visited Atlanta and Philly. I think.
I'm gonna go Nolan Smith.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, I love that. Honestly, that fits great. Yeah, you just took care of the edge rush. I love that personally.
Yeah, good pick.
Hey man, who is chewing like a goddamn horse?
Does not look Gazelle.
Okay, brother. All right, so we're pulling up Nolan Smith here. Says Smith is a modern, undersized edge rusher who had only 238 pounds, can be a 3-down player. In fact, he earned a 90-plus run defense grade over the past 2 years. He needs more power elements to his pass rushing toolbox, but he's a high-end athlete who can win with speed. When I hear win with speed, I love that because I feel like strength is way easier to pack on when you get to the NFL. Not that he's not already in a crazy strength conditioning program in fucking Georgia, but yeah, right. You know what I mean? That there still could be a little bit of growth there when you hit 24, 25. You get like a full man body. Harold, you got anything to say about this?
Yeah, he was flying at the combine. I think he ran sub 4.4.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think it's a great fit for Falcons. Stays home in GA.
Yeah. No, that's a fact. Yeah, I think that overall, I love that pick. Now we have the Bears coming up. I think that was who's picking next?
You.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, we went a little quick. We went a little quick on these last few picks. All right. So I think honestly, right now, what makes the most sense, Peter Skoronski. Wow.
Will Levis.
Invest in Will Levis. What are you talking about? For the Bears or okay, definitely not for the Eagles. Okay, yeah, I think that they're locking in with Justin Fields for another year. I do think that they're a team that has their eyes on quarterback next year, though, in case it doesn't work out. I think they're already thinking in that way. If you just look at like the ways that they freed up a lot of cap, but this past year, the ways that they've invested, I think they've done a great job building some of those other areas on the defense and on the offense. Just signing Mike Galitsky, I love that. Then what else do we have here? What was that?
That's a good job, Ryan Pace.
Oh yeah, well, and also I will say Denzel did call that as that was where he was going to go. He nailed that, and I think it was a great move. I think he's going to lock in right tackle. I think Peter Skoronski, we might see him play tackle, but I think it's possible we see him move into guard at 6'4". He's a little smaller. Well, right here, I guess even they're saying where he can improve. Oh, very little. Like not that he's very little. I read that once again. I'm high, so I read where he can improve. He's very little. But so it says with sub 33-inch arms, Skoronski very well may end up at a guard. That makes sense. Okay, for some people. At tackle, though, he was lights out past fall. He allowed only 6 pressures on 474 pass snaps in his 3 seasons as Northwestern's left tackle. 6 pressures in 3 seasons. Jesus Christ.
God damn.
Yeah, it just doesn't. I mean, yeah, doesn't make sense, but they're killing shit. So yeah, I'd say Peter Skoronski. I do think that'd be a great move for Ryan Pace and the Chicago Bears after moving back and getting draft capital from the Carolina Panthers. I need to add here. So yeah, I think the draft that works out perfect. And then if next year you end up adding Drake May, I think that would be incredible. You know what I mean? And I think honestly, unless Justin Fields comes out and is like insanely improved. Obviously, if you're picking in the top 2 again, then he didn't improve that fucking much because you improved the team. So if you're picking in the top 2 again, it's goodbye Justin Fields and it's hello Caleb Williams or Drake May. Now let's go ahead and get to the next pick. After me, it is Paul. So you have the Philadelphia Eagles, man, the runner-up this year.
Yeah. Paul just picked.
Nah, I didn't.
We're just going quicker. He picked Devin Witherspoon.
Yeah.
And
right,
he's
so
after me.
My pick is Bijan Robinson from Philly.
Oh,
love it. I mean, you don't feel like it's a reach though. I mean, that's a high draft pick, obviously for the position. But the reason, you know, I'm gonna preface that by just saying I think that he's a difference maker at running back, and I think he's head and shoulders above any other prospect in this draft. Go ahead.
So in my opinion, when it comes to this, Nick Sirianni is impulsive, and I think that they're going to. So, and Howie Roseman is known to go again. Look at everyone he's drafted. I mean, look at everyone the Eagles have drafted, from Lane Johnson to trading up for Jalen Hurts to their left guard, who is the rugby player that they drafted early in the draft. I mean, they always go ahead and take these risks and take these jumps. And I just think that the best player on their board is available, and I think that's Bijan Robinson. I also had Nolan Smith down, but he's gone. So I think Bijan Robinson is the next guy there. And that's the only thing that their offense really needs is a stable number 1 at running back. And I think that he fits what they're going to do very well. Again, I think anytime that you can spread out the defense and then use power up the middle, it's a great recipe to win.
Now, you started out by saying that you feel like they're going to be impulsive. So, because obviously that has a negative connotation to it. You know, you would agree.
No.
Okay,
I'm not.
Because it seems like you support the pick.
Yeah, What I'm saying is when I say impulsive,
that's why it's running back.
They don't care about what everybody else thinks. If it's the guy that they want, they're going to take him when they're up, or they trade out of this pick, but we're not trading. So really, I think that for what they need on their team, they need a running back. This is the number 1 running back for their. I mean, I think Jahmyr Gibbs fits certain teams the better, but Bijan Robinson is.
I think you're tripping. I think you missed it.
Oh, you think it's the wrong? You think it's the wrong pick?
I think it's the wrong pick. I think right now I see them going with Brian Branch out of Alabama.
Brown. Oh no, yeah. I'll have him going. Yeah, but it's a fine
I
pick.
think
Do they
Brian.
need
I
a safe?
think
Oh,
yeah,
they do. They got rid of CJ.
they
Yeah,
need a
that's right.
safety, and Brian Branch literally will play every position you can play as a safety. He played it at
No, they
Alabama.
Yeah.
do have. They do have the first.
He was the guy that did it all. You know what I'm saying at Alabama.
You
You
said
know he would
Andretti,
lock
man.
up your.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. I was cutting you off. I was just trying to add to the
You know,
conversation.
no, you're good, brother. You're good, brother. I know you were excited. I think Brian Branch, man, at Alabama, I think he could fill a lot of holes for them in their secondary. You know, and with Darius Slay and James Bradbury back, they need someone over top that can, make sure they don't get their asses torched on double moves. So I think Brian Branch is that guy. You can put him in the slot, lock up the slot too. You can blitz him. He's versatile and he's big. He's not small.
Not that big.
He's not that big,
Yeah.
but he's big. He's 6 foot 190.
But no, yeah. He's a really good player. I mean,
He's built like Minka.
Let me bring
he
this
was
up.
Honestly, I think PFF or someone rated him as like the number one tackler in the draft. But he's a stud. Yeah, I forgot that they got rid of that they didn't have that safety there. But
it says right here he's also the best tackling. This says he's the best. This is PFF. He's also the best tackling defensive back. PFF has graded. That might be, I don't know, that might be ever type shit. Missing only 4 tackles on 174 career attempts.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah,
coverage. He was okay. He got beat a couple times,
but he's a safety playing man.
Yeah, he's an excellent strong safety.
I mean, he could play deep safety. You just had the other guy back there for some odd reason. He was getting
DeMarco Hellams was trash too. I don't know why we did that. That's why we lost to fucking Tennessee.
I love you're going hard to
Jalen Battle.
Jordan Battle, yeah.
Jordan Battle. Yeah,
Jordan Battle.
And I liked him.
We had 2 strong
safeties too. I liked him too, but he used to get his ass kicked.
You're going hard for the safeties. I love that.
No, man, I was a safety, bro. I'm passionate about this shit. But I think this kid has a very high football IQ, which is what I like about him. Which is one of the upsides they have on him. I think in the NFL, if you can play smart, you're gonna have a long career and you're gonna do very well. I think that's a nice pick from them. I think that's a sleeper pick for them. I know the sexy pick would be Bijan Robinson, but I think Brian Branch is a pick that helps them compete for another Super Bowl. Because in all reality, Dalvin Cook will be out there.
It's a very Dalvin Cook with the Dolphins right now. Might want to watch that.
They're just gonna cut him, or they're gonna trade for him. Something. But the Eagles have 2 picks. I mean, they can trade their other pick for Dalvin Cook and then sign Brian Branch, draft Brian Branch.
I think Bijan, real quick. I think Bijan's a great pick. Oh, brother, I gotta pull that down. My bad, Harold. I think Bijan's a great pick because when you're talking about a team that's obviously they're just in the Super Bowl, they were a play away from possibly winning it. A running back is making a bigger impact at the beginning of their career than a lot of these other guys are going to. So they're, I think, in a win now mode too. They're in a place where they can draft a guy right off the bat who could possibly give you 1,200. Like running backs come in at perfect form sell. You feel what I'm saying? Like you get worse versions of the running back the longer that their career goes, more times than not. So I think this makes sense. Capitalize on, you just paid Jalen Hurts. You have a great team in-house, great defense. You're going to switch over a lot of coordinators. I think that's the scariest part for their team. But
my read on Bijan, though, I mean, what do you guys think? What's your read on him as a back? Me, I look at him as he reminds me a lot of Saquon, just a step slower. But what do you guys think?
I think extremely elite. He reminds me a little bit of Le'Veon Bell, who's one of my favorite running backs I've ever watched run. I think he has a similar kind of patience. But and when you compare him to Saquon, I could see that with like the jumpiness and things of that nature. But for me, I think Bijan, I don't agree with you, to be honest, with the Jahmyr Gibbs. I like Jahmyr Gibbs a lot, and if he ends up in Miami, I would be happy. And I think he has super high ceiling. But I think Bijan is like one of those guys that comes along every 2-3 years where it's like, okay, we can draft him top 10. Jahmyr Gibbs or even Alvin Kamara coming out, stuff like that. Those are guys I don't know that you're willing to take the risk top 10. They don't break the mold. I think Bijan immediately comes in and breaks the mold. There's no running back by committee with him if you don't want to. He can carry the ball 30 times. I'm comfortable with that. And that's why I love the pick, to be honest. I could see them addressing some offensive line concerns and stuff, but I think how much he comes in and makes the team better day one is, I think he has one of the most significant impacts day one compared to anybody that's going to be drafted tomorrow.
I think that Jahmyr Gibbs going to Alabama might have been a mistake for him, to be honest with you. Because Bill O'Brien has never given running backs a lot of love. And as a guy who watched every play, man, my God, dude, like he saved us in a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
But like
I said,
great. I just think it like depends on the offense. So like for us, I don't think Bijan fits us better than Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think that if I'm Kansas City, I'm taking it like I would take Jahmyr. If I had a top 10 pick on Kansas City, I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs. Like that's just over Bijan. But
I don't know if I agree with that because I think that Bijan's a guy that you can't count on your team being in the same situation that you're going to be in, that you're in right now in 5 years, for example. And I think Bijan's a safer bet to just like, to be honest, for the next 5 years, you can, I think, run the offense for the most part through him. He could be one of basically you could change the offense and he could be the feature of the offense. Whereas I don't know if you could change. I agree that Jahmyr Gibbs comes into our offense as a Miami Dolphins and immediately fits and it makes sense. It may be more so than Bijan does. But at the end of the day, I think if Bijan gets on your team, you then have the option to say, are we going to become a running team now? You know what I mean? Did our whole offense just change? Are we changing? Whatever. Yeah. So either way, but no, I mean,
I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs is on the same level as Bijan, but I do think he is a dynamic weapon that Bijan may not be. Because I think Gibbs gives you that Le'Veon, that L. Bell, Pittsburgh Steeler, put him in the slot, and he's going to route up a corner or a safety. You know what I mean? I think Jahmyr has that ability. I think he's.
I like that.
I like that. I think he might be a little bit. I think he's more explosive, though.
I think he's smaller. Fast. He's smaller. That's why he reminds me a lot of Alvin Kamara. Like when I'm watching him, it's like this is Kamara. Kamara started on the
Alabama.
Yeah, so it's like kind of interesting to see. Somebody's echoing, by the way. But it's kind of interesting to see how that would have planned out. Alternate universe. But either way, so who's next?
No, I don't think he's Alvin Kamara. I think he's more like Dan Sproles.
Oh wow!
God damn, dude, he's 5'9", not 5'6".
Yo, Harold, I think it might be you, brother, because I don't hear it now.
Speaking of 5'6", you guys like that running back out of Kansas State?
Most definitely.
I love him. Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah, if I'm a Buffalo. And Gibbs and Bijan are gone when I'm picking there in the late 20s. I mean, why the fuck not? You give Josh Allen that?
Oh, yeah. I feel that, yeah.
He's a playmaker. He can play in the slot, too. And
Deuce, I think you're next, right?
Yeah.
Yep, so you're Tennessee Titans. If you look on the screen, I got the top-rated prospects left. If you have them, you can go ahead and look through them.
I'm looking at tackle, interior offensive line, wide receiver, and running back. Okay.
Can I say a suggestion? Because I don't want to do what I did to Paul before and like mention somebody and then he's like, damn, that's what I wanted. But I think there's a person here that makes a lot of sense.
I think Anthony Richardson can make some sense here.
Anthony Richardson's gone, brother.
He's gone.
Yeah,
okay, I think he could definitely make some sense in Tennessee because they missed their whiff on.
I agree that Will Levis is there.
Yeah, I'm not sold on that one.
So
I could see them taking Jackson Smith and Jigba. Giving them a true number one receiver. I could also see them going, left tackle here. I could see them probably going. I could see them going tackle, receiver, and tight end, honestly. Just shoring up one of those positions.
Yeah.
I think tackle is probably the most logical.
Paris Johnson.
And I think that probably be
Taylor Lewan.
It's probably going to be Paris Johnson, yeah.
Could I throw out the person I just wanted to mention, and then you can?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think Tyree Wilson makes a lot of sense here. I think they already have a pretty solid defensive line, and I think adding a pass edge rusher like Tyree Wilson would be huge. But I mean, I mean, I respect your pick, but I did want to throw that out there because I think that's a defense changer in this position with what they already have to support him on defense. And I don't think any of the offensive positions necessarily. I mean, I do like. Don't get me wrong. I think the Paris Johnson Jr. pick is great. So I mean, I'm down to. Are you cool if I select that? But I did want to throw out Tyree Wilson. I think that's a sneaky pick here. That honestly, he's already for us. He's dropping in most mock drafts. He's up. He's actually up for question ahead of Will Anderson in a lot of people's mock drafts. I don't know if you've seen that, Paul.
Yeah, I've seen that. I think that some people get so.
I mean, I think he's a good player. I think he's going to be a very, very good player. But
yeah,
I think with Tennessee,
for need, you make a lot of sense right now.
Yeah, I think with Tennessee, they'll probably go tackle just because they need to have. I mean, if they're going to, it doesn't matter if it's going to be Tannehill or Willis. I mean, they need a guy to be upright, so I think they'll go tackle. I do like the Wilson thing, though. I mean, I like that dude as a prospect. For sure.
They need someone to open holes for Derrick Henry.
No, I mean, honestly, we'll go with the Paris Johnson.
I mean, it looks like they're trying to get rid of Derrick Henry.
It's the new GM. Like is he trying to blow everything up and start new? Then fine. But like the last when they brought this up, dude, this fucking city almost had a riot, dude.
They might.
So I don't know. They're pissed. They might trade him, and the Dolphins have been in talks. So I hope he goes to Miami. That'd be great.
Yeah. Harold, did you have something to say on this?
I was going to say, watch out for Tennessee and Trey Lance.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
that's interesting.
Their new GM came from San Francisco. So.
That's a good take.
That is interesting. Now, one thing I wanted to add with Paris Johnson, he is probably the only guy that you draft in.
They kick names again.
Who's that?
Which one?
You want to bring up first?
Who did you guys pick for Tennessee?
Is that which one you think has this? Yeah, this will strip this here. This one here.
I think, honestly, if I'm being honest here, I do like what you said, but
James isn't here.
No, the stream's still going though, bro.
Is it?
Gotta keep it alive, baby.
Yeah.
All right. So what pick are we at, man?
Tennessee just picked, right?
Yeah.
Houston. Okay, so Houston's a QB, wide receiver, O-line, safety. I could see them. I could see the Texans going Levis.
See, I think. All right, so hear me out. So when Houston goes Anderson, what I'm thinking is this. I'm thinking that they got Davis Mills, who honestly isn't a horrible quarterback, but obviously he's not a future quarterback. So what I think is, just like Brock Purdy, there's a quarterback who plays just like him, that when given a team, he won 2 national championships that they could take in the 3rd round and Stetson Bennett. And I think that might be the play. So
Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, but in the 3rd round. I think that they use the first 2 rounds to take positions of difference making, positions that you can build a team around with a roster, and then take that quarterback who's that smart quarterback, who's sneaky athletic, who throws an accurate ball, who just
I don't think he makes it out of the second.
You don't think Stetson Bennett thinks?
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of I think I could see him being there in the third, but all of
Their
the
second pick in the third, right?
all of the doubt with Stetson Bennett, I personally don't really get it to the point of
No,
pushing him into the third round personally, because all
but
he's
that's
shown.
what the NFL does.
That's true. That's true. It's not like unheard of. I'm agreeing with you. And I mean, the same thing I would say about Bryce Young, but I don't think Bryce Young should be in the third round either, obviously. Size is a concern with Stetson as well. So I want to be consistent with that. But aside from that, it's not going to look cool. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I just think, I don't think that D'Amico's gonna want to bank his hat on drafting fucking Stetson Bennett in the third.
But you're not. Because like if it's a third round pick, second round pick, you're not married to that.
Yeah.
There's so much value there, though. On defense.
That's why But then you're getting the same. Think about the value you're getting in the first round. So
I'm not getting him I'm not. I mean, what else is there? I mean, no. What else is you gonna go? What else are you gonna go there?
There's
difference. So every receiver is still on the board right now.
I mean, you're gonna go Jackson Smith and Jibba. I mean, I guess.
Why not? Or Zay Sanders.
I mean, Zay Sanders, yes. But the thing is, like, they don't know.
Oh, Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
my bad.
They don't know what they're gonna do offensively yet. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what they're gonna be. What their identity truly is yet on offense. So it's like, to me, it's really, I don't think they're gonna really try to make too many big offensive splashes this year in the draft. Unless a quarterback falls.
Let's bring Harold back in here because he got back.
Pick, right?
Yeah, and this is Harold's pick, I believe. So, Harold at 12, who is the Houston Texans taking?
So
Harold, make the right choice, brother.
First round.
Yeah, I can kind of hear you now. Yeah, you said first round.
First round last year they went right with Stingley.
Stingley, yep.
They signed Dalton Schultz to Dallas, so they have a tight end. They traded Cook to Dallas, so they needed a
Okay.
They let go Robert Woods.
I'm gonna go with Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Good pick.
Yeah.
You think he's the number one wide receiver in the draft?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, right here it says missed almost the entire fall with hamstring issues, but was Ohio State's leading receiver in 2021 as a sophomore. That year, he caught 95 passes and 1,595 yards and 9 scores. He provides the uncoachable route running ability and ball skills that will always have a role in the NFL. Says, what's his role? Slot. He ran 83% of his routes from the slot in his career, where he proved to be a sure-handed receiver who possessed short area speed. Blah, 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 blah. Yes. Yeah, says he doesn't have much to improve to be a functional NFL starter. Yeah.
So no Jordan Addison, no Josh Downs, no Quentin Johnson, no Zay Flowers. I mean,
brother, I think you're happy with that pick. If you're the Texans, out of all the wide receivers to get, I think you're very happy to get Jackson Smith. For me, I think that it's funny because
if they're going receiver, they're going Tank Dell out of Houston. He was in your backyard. You watched him all year. Kid put up stupid numbers. I mean, I don't think they will. I think they probably draft a kid that was playing in Texas if they're going to draft a receiver, man, because there's 2 good ones. I mean, 2 great ones. Did you? I sent you the videos of Tank Dell running routes, right? That shit is next level.
I'm looking at him right now.
Next level, dude.
Get him in the second round.
Yeah,
he's not making it to the second round, brother. He's not making it.
Well, there's gonna be a lot of people that make it to the second round. So,
yeah.
Well, his workouts though. After his workouts, like the rave from his workouts have been. He's been buzzing.
They had the second pick in the second round, which is the 33rd pick this year. So, I mean, it's really not hard to find another really talented player at that spot.
Yeah. I really like Jordan Addison. I just brought him up. I don't know if y'all are looking at the.
No, Jordan Addison's really good.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. But what was that?
I know the Dolphins have two small wide receivers, but I don't really like small wide receivers. Like I'm not a big Zay Flowers guy.
Yeah.
Or Addison. I'm not big on this guy.
It's very hard to have small receivers unless you have a very accurate quarterback. I mean, and that's not a thing for our guy. That's just me speaking out of experience of having to throw to short guys versus you having an obvious fucking 6'4", 6'3" target.
Well, the only thing a 6'3" target allows you to do is be high on throws. But if you're throwing to spots like you are in the NFL most of the time, you really just have to be throwing to a spot. So if the receiver can get to the spot, it doesn't matter how big he is. Steve Smith used to go up and fucking head top dudes at 5'11". He just, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter.
One.
I mean, it's not just one. You have Odell Beckham. You have guys that are always like
Odell Beckham is 6'1". Okay, but again,
no, he's not. He's not 6'1". But
anyway,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's obvious. It's not to say that it can't be done or people don't do it. But I mean, again, I'm a Jalen Waddle fan. I love Tyreek Hill. They both get up on top. But if you're asking me which is easier to throw to, who would be easier to throw to? T. Higgins or Jalen Waddle?
It depends on the route.
Yeah, it depends on the route, I would say.
I mean, dude, that's what I'm saying. And the thing is, at a point in time when I was playing quarterback, I didn't give a fuck. I threw to the receiver who was going to catch it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Well, that was the whole thing. So if he's going to fucking catch it, it doesn't matter, brother. You feel what I'm saying? Like
6'5" or 5'9", it's obvious. Again,
no, if you need a big receiver, I can go.
I'm not saying you need one.
I can get you one in free agency.
We're talking about the Houston Texans right now and who they would pick with this.
They already have Mechie. They already have Mechie, who's like 6'1", 6'2".
All right, look. Hey, let's get to the Green Bay Packers, man.
Like, what the fuck? You're talking about you don't like small receivers. It's crazy. If you're gonna be fucking open. Like small
receivers. Who said I don't?
Be fucking open. That's all that matters, brother. Come on now.
There you go. All right.
You like fucking Tyreek Hill and fucking Jalen Waddle get open, right? Yeah, you want to keep all the small guys to yourself down there, man.
Nobody said anything negative about him.
Yeah, you trying to downplay him, man. You trying to downplay him. You trying to keep
now look. Let's move. Andre, don't make me mute you, brother. All right, please don't make me do that.
To get violent,
yeah. So with the Green Bay Packers, this is my pick right here. This is the pick that they flip-flopped with the New York Jets. So I really like wide receiver at this point, to be honest, because I think that it's just time that they gave their quarterback some weapons. And also, who was the wide receiver that they drafted last year that was balling this year? But
Christian Watson. No, Dobbs.
Christian Watson.
Dobbs.
No, Christian Watson. You're right. Well, they did too, but Christian Watson was balling at the end of the year. But I think
Dobbs did like a couple games and then fucking shit.
Yeah. And I think you open that up even more, to be honest, if you what I'm saying is from Christian Watson, his deep playability, if you get another really reliable guy. So the thing is, for me, I would probably take Jordan Addison because I actually like him the most out of all the wide receivers personally. I like Jackson a lot, and I think his ceiling probably higher, but I think Jordan Addison is just going to be he reminds me of like Calvin Ridley, like just a consistent, when he was on Pitt, he gave you the same production he gave you with Caleb Williams. You know what I mean? Like, with Kenny Pick. So either way, so here I think that they probably pass on him, though, to be honest, and they probably go Quentin Johnston. So that's who I'm going to take.
Paul, you're a big receiver.
Yeah, I think they take Quentin Johnston. I think a lot of the reason is because they take the big receiver. He was he just makes sense as your number one guy. And now for me, I feel like we didn't see him compete at the we didn't see him do it enough. You know what I mean? We didn't see him go to the high point and snatch the ball enough for a 6'4" fucking receiver. Well, this says 6'3", but down here it says 6'4", force of nature. But I feel like we didn't see him make that play enough, but he still, was consistent downfield. I've also thought Max Duggar honestly wasn't that great of a quarterback and super inaccurate. But that's just me. And yeah, I like this pick, and it makes sense to replace Alan Lazard, to be honest.
Right.
And also goes right hand with like Devontae, what's up, and stuff like that. So it just makes sense. And I think that's going to be the pick. Do you guys have any knocks on it? Is it a stupid pick? I don't know. I'm really looking for more conversation.
No, that's I like the pick.
I don't think I like that pick. What's that pick for?
You didn't like it, Harold? What did you say, by the way? I couldn't hear you.
That was the Patriots. That was the Patriots. Or
No, that was Green Bay.
Hey, hold up, because Harold's mic's a little lower, so you can't talk while he's trying to talk.
Go ahead, brother. You got the runway.
He's definitely my wide receiver too.
Yeah.
When I was watching his tape, they were like handing him the ball. He was like in here, they were getting so involved in the offense. They were throwing it to him, handing it to him. So yeah, he's my too. So I think he's good.
Yeah, I think he could. I think he has a bit that he can improve too, and I think it's kind of clear to see, like with NFL level coaching and things like that, just general development, and also being paid millions of dollars to play football. You know what I mean, and making that just a part of just sharpening that craft. I think you could see a huge improvement with him. Now after me, it's the Patriots, and that is that's what it's called.
I don't like that pick, by the way. I think they go tight end Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So,
Fuck. They don't do that.
Yeah, that's big time happening.
So I have
that's a young quarterback's best friend.
Yeah, fucking snail.
So I had Brian Branch going here.
Brian
New
Branch.
England,
Okay,
I think.
Nice.
But with him being gone, I have Michael Myers.
No, he's not gone. He's not gone.
I thought that Denzel drafted him.
No, Denzel talked about drafting him and then pussied out.
No, I did draft him, didn't I?
No, you took Paris Johnson.
No, that wasn't my.
You took Paris Johnson. Yes, you did.
I was talking about him for another place. I was talking about Brian Branch for a different place. I was talking about him for.
Yeah, and then you didn't take him,
Paul,
brother.
No, because Paul drafted the Eagles, dude. He drafted Bijan.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, you said you wanted to draft him for there, but you weren't picking. All right, so Brian Branch was the pick?
Yeah, I'm going to go Brian Branch.
Okay, like it.
What's that for?
I think at that spot it's him or Michael Meyer.
Okay. And do you have any reasoning behind why Brian Branch, or just kind of like what we talked about earlier?
Well, I think that so with them losing McCourty, exactly, and McCourty retired, they don't have that safety, and he's that kind of guy that's going to come in and be that McCourty-esque player that they had, but at a first-round ability, and he's a Nick Saban coach kid that is going to give you smart football. He's going to be prepared for what Bill Belichick and how he runs the building. So that's my pick.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. I like the Brian Branch. I think that's a solid pick. That's a Bill Belichick pick. So it makes a lot of sense in my opinion. And then just from the need standpoint. Now, this is the pick that got flip-flopped with the New York Jets and the Packers. At 15, we got the New York Jets choosing. Ready, this is your pick. By the way, it's amazing.
New York Jets choosing. We're going to go ahead and go Michael Mayer, Notre Dame.
Oh, my God. Do it for Notre Dame. Okay, well, justify it, because I think this is a stupid pick.
No, it's not. Let me tell you why.
This is a dumbass pick.
They don't have a tight end, and that's one position that they desperately need.
They had Conklin. What are you talking about?
And he's fucking dog water. What are we talking about?
No, he's decent. He's okay.
No, he's not. He's catching fucking 5-yard outs and fucking getting fucking mollywopped out of bounds. He fucking fumbled.
Bro, he's about to have Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. He's coming from having Zach Wilson throwing the ball. Like, give him a little bit of fucking, like, who are we blaming? We're all over the place. Who we blame for the offense?
He was with Kirk Cousins, had no production. Jesus Christ.
All right, brother, that water. Come on, man.
Brother, we just lost our eardrums there for a second, brother. I just
Jesus
thought
Christ.
I thought I went blind.
But no, man, I just can't see Michael Mayer going at this pick. I mean, I respectfully,
Because they just got Aaron Rodgers. He loves to have a tight end, which Michael Mayer is a pretty big tight end. You feel what I'm saying? He is a killer. He was the best red zone tight end last year in college football. I mean, that's Aaron Rodgers' go-to. I think it's a perfect pick. He plays exactly the way Aaron Rodgers likes his tight ends to play. Inline tight end can block and sneak out. You know what I'm saying? Run those deep corners and shit like that. Michael Mayer has the best hands of any tight end in the draft, period. That's
count
not even
3
a fucking
offensive
question.
tackles they take over Michael Mayer. But go ahead, continue.
They're not taking a tackle because they already have 2 tackles. They have Betkin and they have the other guy that they drafted back-to-back years. They're not going tackle. They got 2 tackles.
Bro,
they're going
no,
weapons. They're going weapons.
They're upgrading the offensive line, in my opinion. But okay, no, I'm with you. Let's do it. Michael Mayer, I think, in a way, does that. Michael Mayer, in a way, upgrade your offensive line. So,
and he gives you a receiving threat.
Yeah, no, I like that. So we got the shithole Washington Commanders choosing the most bullshit franchise in the NFL. Now selecting is on the clock.
We can tell there's a fucking Miami Dolphins.
Who has the displeasure?
Fucking draft.
Who has the displeasure of picking for this shit racist organization?
They changed ownership.
All right.
Harold, I think it's you, brother. Yep.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Actually, better. Sounds great.
You know I'm gonna do it to you, Denzel.
Do what?
We'll love this. You're a new quarterback.
You ain't doing it to me, man. Let me look at team need real quick. Let me see what the team need is.
This says quarterback, guard, center, and linebacker.
Oh God, I'm so sick of drafting fucking linebackers. That's not something they know how to do. It says I don't have linebacker. I have QB, interior line, corner, and tight end.
Kincaid still on the board?
Is who?
Kincaid?
Yeah, he's on the board.
He is.
That's actually a move they might do.
You go back-to-back tight end?
They might do that, actually. That's a Washington move. Fucking dumbasses. I would love them to fucking go corner. I mean, interior line, I just feel like you get that in free agency.
Christian Gonzalez is still there. Oh, we kind of can't hear you. Harold.
Oh, yeah, Christian Gonzalez, if he falls like that, I could see that happening.
Yeah, we can't hear you. We're really just getting echo now. You're driving, though. I don't want you to have to too much. Oh, mock draft live.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're kind of low, but I can hear you. Don't be afraid to yell.
This is tough, bro, because I think Hendon Hooker is better than Will Levis. Like,
oh, do it.
I would like to give y'all a quarterback because I'm not buying Howell shit. I'm not buying Sam Howell as the starter. I'm not buying that at all.
Nice.
They're just saying the right thing publicly right now. But
they're probably going to make a trade, though, for a quarterback.
For Lamar Jackson.
They're probably going to do that. New ownership?
I'm going to go Dalton Kincaid, tight end Utah.
Wow, back-to-back. This is shitty for the Miami Dolphins, by the way. I can't help but think about that.
No, you get Sam Laporta.
Fucking trash. Fucking trash Catholic bastard. Fuck him.
Sam
honestly.
Laporta, bro, he's a fucking he was the fastest tight end in the draft, I'm pretty sure.
Interesting. Okay. So Kincaid at 240 pounds. Kincaid bridges the gap between tight end and wide receiver. This is the thing that I love about him because I've watched so much of Kincaid's tape and how he'll just sit in a zone on a motherfucker is sick. So either way, so you're not going to draft him.
Travis Kelce vibes.
You're not going to draft him exactly. You're not going to draft him for your for blocking ability, but he's at least serviceable in that regard. No, Kincaid can be a focal point of an offense with his route running ability after recording 70 catches on 890 yards. What's the touchdowns look like, baby? 8 touchdowns. Okay. I don't know why they didn't have that there. They're saying what can he improve? Muscle mass. So he needs to put on some muscle, stop looking like a little boy. And yeah.
I'm not mad at that pick. I mean, I would definitely, Gonzalez, if he was there, I would definitely love that because they say he's a top 10 talent in this draft. But Kincaid, I think Kincaid's, he's an all-pro tight end in my opinion, athletic.
Just thank him and write him a letter that he didn't just draft Will Levis. You know what I mean? Because it's like that's all you need to thank him for, to be real. Like draft Carson Wentz part 2.
It's hard for me to see another quarterback going in the rest of this.
Yeah, I agree, but I agree with Harold. I like Hendon Hooker, but I think his injury concerns and then his age concerns. He's a little bit older than the other guys, but not like what was dude's name from Oklahoma State? Brandon Whedon. Fucking yeah, old ass man. No, just playing. We're old ass men. So look, pick 17. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and whose pick is this? This is me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hell yeah. All right. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I can't pass up on Christian Gonzalez personally. Right here, we just got big corner. Gonzalez has everything you want from a top quarterback: size, speed, length, hips, ball skills. He had a breakout 2022 season after transferring to Oregon, notching 4 picks and 6 pass breakups. Versatile quarterback, playing with an edge. So the only thing that keeps Gonzalez from being CB1 and a top 5 pick is his mentality. If you can light a little fire under him, Gonzalez will be a stud in the league. So yeah, I think you get 100% CB1 corner on your team. Improve that secondary. Makes sense for the Steelers. I could see them possibly going Jordan Addison, just because he had such a great rapport with Kenny Pickett. But I think I think Christian Gonzalez possibly has like top 10 level talent. So it's like to pass up on him would be tough for me. So this is the Detroit Lions. Does anybody have any opinions on the pick? You know what I mean?
Who'd you pick?
Christian Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez?
Uh-huh. Yep, this is the Pittsburgh Steelers too, by the way.
Yeah, I can see them doing that. He's yeah.
Yeah. This is Pittsburgh. Yeah, go ahead.
They desperately need to draft corner, and so I think that's what they're going to do. And I hope for the football the gods that Joey Porter Jr. falls to them. But yeah, I think that any physical corner works for them, and so I think this is a great pick.
Okay, nice. And then Bruce Andretti, man, you already said that you liked.
I love this pick, honestly. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers, right?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. They desperately have needed a number 1 corner for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They
a long ass time to not have a number 1 corner. But
I just think I think if there was a better offensive tackle draft in this class, I mean, they could go.
Hey, this has been packed for you.
They could stretch. They could stretch it and take an offensive tackle or a linebacker. But I think the obvious choice would be to go corner here if Gonzalez is there and he slipped that far. I can see them going wide receiver too.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned Jordan Addison. Does anybody feel crazy about Jordan Addison going to the Steelers?
I would say they would probably do more Zay Flowers. They're more of a Zay Flowers kind of.
Jordan Addison already has that rapport with Kenny Pickett, though. My bad, Paul. I want to let you go.
No,
go ahead.
No, I just think that Pittsburgh already has George Pickens. They traded for Allen Robinson. They really like Deontay Johnson. He's a big part of that. So I don't know if they're going to go wide receiver in the first round. Like I said, corner is the desperate need. And really, their only true that and offensive line. They're only 2 needs.
This is a dream draft for them if he falls.
Yes. This is the deepest DB draft that we've had in a long time. So they can't go wrong. That's what I said. There's 3 really physical corners, and then the Mississippi State kid who plays more physical than he's built. But so there's 4 guys that they really can, any of them work for them. So yeah, like I said, excellent pick, James.
Yeah. All right. Cool. The
Do you see them? Do you see any linebackers that they can take at this draft? I don't think I even see a linebacker graded in the first round. Not in the middle.
Dan Campbell is the main, or not Dan Campbell, Jay Campbell is the main linebacker I've talked about, but he's not. It says his average draft is 42nd, basically. Oh, wait,
dude, he's not even ranked in the top 50 prospect.
Harold, I think it's you, brother. What was that?
He's not even rated a top 50 prospect.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, really,
40, he's 40. Never mind.
Yeah, but if you really love a kid, you feel like this kid's gonna shore up a need. I don't remember who said that earlier. I think it might have been Paul said that about the Eagles. And it's like I agree with that philosophy. If you think that you're really close and if there's just a need that you have, then fuck what everybody else rated. If this guy comes onto your team and plays at a top level, then draft Jake Campbell if that's the guy. I mean, I wouldn't mind that pick, to be honest. I mean.
They need a linebacker desperately. They've been trying to figure out that position too for a long time.
Well,
and
Devin Bush got hurt.
Positions.
They do need somebody opposite him. I think that I'm not even going to call it an experiment, but I think that deserves another year. He played well previous to injury, so it's like, give him another year to rock that out. I'm confident.
So you think do you think Devin Bush will be what they thought he was going to be? Because I mean, they need someone to anchor that defense, and I don't.
You think no, Paul?
I don't think he sucks. I don't think he sucks. I won't say sucks, but I don't think he is your anchor. I think he could be your Will, your Sam. I don't think he could be your middle linebacker, holding it down. And I think that's why linebacker might make sense. But if Gonzalez falls, this is a lock.
Yeah. Okay. Let's Paul. Is there a reason you guys don't have lights in your homes?
What's up?
Brother, we're not all rich, brother.
I'm not rich at all, man. Come on, stop it. All right,
brother,
so
you're balling, brother. You're blessed, brother.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm up with Detroit, and
you're up with Detroit. Yes, sir.
So where the fuck? There it is.
They had a pick already that I think you might have picked for, didn't you?
Yeah. So I'm going Broderick Jones. I'm going Broderick Jones, the tackle.
I don't like
Georgia.
That pick, Paul. I don't like that pick.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, fuck.
I don't like that pick, Paul. That's very. I think they're willing to draft Will Levis.
Wow, what?
Yeah.
Yep, I think they're willing to. They're going to be willing to draft Will Levis, in my opinion. And here it's a Detroit. Yeah, I mean they're saying tackle, tight end, wide receiver, linebacker. I could see them. I could see them going wide receiver here.
Okay.
So you think wide receiver over tackle? That's interesting.
Because I just don't think DeJuan Jones is a first round tackle, in my opinion. To me, he seems a little heavy. And when you're playing against the super athletic speed to power guys, I think that might be a problem for him, personally.
He played in the SEC though, so
yeah. But is he seeing? He didn't see Will Anderson last year. We didn't get to see that matchup. You know what I mean? And I watched.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
We didn't.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. We didn't get to see that. And then I watched him in the Senior Bowl practices, and he looked like he was very grabby. He looked very grabby to me, personally. I mean, there's too many good wide receivers on the board for them to really pass up one here.
Can I bring somebody up one more time for you, Paul? Tyree Wilson.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's still there.
Yeah, I think I guess with Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah. Oh man, that would have been deadly.
But they already
have another defensive end. Yeah, they already have.
I mean,
they got the Okoro brothers already over there.
Listen,
so at this point, somebody would fucking trade up to get Tyree Wilson. That's what would happen at this point.
Well, I think the Detroit Lions are a prime. I think they consider defensive edge rush with their first pick. To be honest, at number 6, when he was sitting there, I was kind of like, he might go right now. To be honest, like I think once again, like at some points you have like these opportunities to really make a unit on your team elite, and it's like pairing that with Aiden Hutchinson would have been, I think, pretty deadly. And then you could have moved somebody inside or whatever. I mean, either way, and we see things like rotations being employed more and more in the NFL on the defensive line more than ever. So I don't think something like that would hold you back from drafting a defensive end. Coming from a
That's
fucking
fair.
Commanders fan, that's sick that you're the person that said that, by the way. But Chuck, you make no fucking sense, man.
Hey, listen, man. I'm just saying. I see a bunch of
how many years in a row
first-round-
did y'all draft defensive line?
I see some wide receivers there that I think
It's like a running joke.
I think they definitely would take, man. This is my opinion. You know, there's guys out there I think they would take. Personally, at receiver.
Nobody that makes their team better than taking Tyree Wilson. And personally, I think the tackle makes a lot of
Tyree
sense.
Wilson is a project, though. They don't know what he can do against the run. You
Come
know what
on.
I'm saying? He's a straight.
Not a project like that. He's going to be primarily a pass rusher. I'll agree with you on that.
So he's going to play one. He's going to play what, 1 or 2 downs. I mean, let's be real. That's a first. That's
You're drafting Tyree
you
Wilson.
want from a first round pick.
You're drafting Tyree Wilson to be a Micah Parsons. Yeah, you're drafting hoping that he's Micah Parsons off the edge. But
I agree.
I don't. Again, there's so many guys that get drafted.
See that.
No. I'm not saying that that's who he is. I'm saying that you're drafting that length and speed off the edge to be a disruptive force. But I don't know.
Here's the problem with Micah Parsons.
Translate.
Yeah, I agree.
Michael Parsons showed you that flash at stand-up middle linebacker. You know what I'm saying? Sideline to sideline.
I'm not comparing the two.
I know. I'm just
saying. Exactly what you're saying, Paul. It's like if there's a comparison to Micah Parsons at all, and it's like if you shoot for the stars and you land on a cloud, you know what I'm saying? Then okay, you know what I mean. If he's a 13 sack a year guy instead of a 20 sack a year guy, defensive player of the year, then okay, you know what I mean. They're going to be very happy with that, and I think that's the kind of player that he ends up being, double-digit sack.
Man, I just don't see it. I mean, he's pretty low on this board, man.
But you know what? With your next pick, James, take Tyree Wilson.
It might be depending on who's picking. I think with the Detroit Lions at that point, it just made a lot of sense, especially just going along with their identity. But I think offensive tackle makes sense too. And I mean, guess wide receiver makes sense with Jameson Williams just being suspended, but I mean they just got him, and I think he could be elite. So it's like, and you already have St. Brown, so it's like wide receiver. Like, are you smoking crack?
And,
like, what are you talking about?
And they're running, and they're a run first team. They're a run first team.
Dude, come on, stop it. Like,
that's my point. They need more weapons. Bro, St. Brown is a 1,000-yard receiver. He was their only 1,000-yard receiver on the team.
Because Jameson Williams got hurt.
Jameson Williams can't fucking, and he can't fucking stay in the
bro,
NFL.
Come on, stop. Okay.
My motherfucker's got.
He's about to learn.
All last year.
He's going to learn from this.
And you only had one
he didn't play last year because he got hurt.
And then you fucking came, and then you're coming in with a 6-game suspension.
Yeah, you're going
you don't know what Jameson
Williams
even is.
Come on.
So draft Zay Flowers.
Dude, okay, when he played last year, he went off. When he played last year, he went off.
Literally holds all the records at Boston College, man. I mean, listen, I'm just saying, Tyreek Wilson's strength, tall, sleek frame, seriously intimidating on the edge, super long, utilizes his length to advantage as a rusher, balance is good, chips don't knock him off his spot often, hard worker against the run, motor hums all game. Can get stuck on blocks without the ability to quickly counter. Because he's so tall, his center of gravity is high, which leaves him susceptible to squattier blockers who can get under him and control him. Dipping around the corner is far from his forte. See, that, dude, dipping around from his
What are you talking about? Everything
far from his forte.
You're ignoring the entire beginning. That was amazing.
Bro,
yeah.
But
there were 9
the bottom
positives
part,
there, and he says the 3 negatives.
But here's my problem. Here's my problem.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a bullshit scouting report.
Take me to task.
Say he's super long and utilizes his length.
He's attacking his own sources now. That's not even my source. He's attacking his own source that he brought.
It's contradictory, dude. That's all I'm saying. You can't dip. Okay, you can't dip around the corner, but yet he can use his length. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. Okay, fair. Like a bullshit source. We're not in disagreement.
But this is a scouting report for him.
Yeah.
Bro, I just don't like you say.
There's several scouting reports, though, right?
If you say his pass rush is his best ability, but yet then again you sit there and you're like his pass rush needs a lot of work, then it's like, okay, well obviously he's not that good of a fucking player.
Because he can get even better.
He's playing at Texas Tech.
Yeah, he can get it. Which is just the best quarterback of all time. So give me a fucking break. What are you?
Oh,
You're gonna
give
shit
me
on
a-
Texas?
you give me a
So hold on.
goddamn
Here.
break.
So hold on.
He's not a quarterback.
So hold on.
brother. He's not a
So
quarterback.
hold on.
Yeah.
So hold on. Just like we were talking about with Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen, you knew, okay, this motherfucker has a Dan Marino arm and has some wheels. There might be some
not the guy to
stuff
talk
that
about
we
Let him
have to
finish his
tweak.
point. Let him finish his point.
That there's some stuff we need to tweak. With Tyree Wilson, you have at freakish length, freakish speed, and a great speed rusher who has to just work on other things. But what you're getting with that speed rusher is elite, top of the game. So then it's like, okay, is it worth taking him and then trying to get him to learn that, hey, you have to have more than just a speed rush. You have to work a bull rush. You have to
He
have
had the
more to
fifth
your
best
arsenal.
pressure. He had the fifth best pressure rate in football last year, so he wasn't even the best.
That's really good.
Great.
That's really good.
But he's not even. He wasn't the best.
Oh my
though, is
God!
point.
Can we
There
just
were
move
5
on?
guys better.
Fine,
than him at
I'll
rushing
pick
the
him
passer.
next. Fuck.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
Like, bro, he's a hard worker
Who's up?
against
Who's
the
up?
run.
Who's up?
A hard worker
It's
means that
Denzel.
he's
He's
not
still
good.
Done.
Yeah, it's Denzel's turn. He's filibustering the fucking draft.
Just saying, man. Who we got? Who we got
You're
next?
a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Basically, you're fucked.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jesus Christ, they're just drafting.
Wait,
whatever
I
they
thought I
think
was
they
Tampa. Wait, who am I at? Wait,
No, you just drafted
who's
Detroit.
up?
Yeah, you just drafted Detroit, dude.
Oh,
Stop trying to take
shit.
all my picks. They need to.
Yeah.
They need to make a splash move.
I think you draft the best player available.
Is
You
Tampa
need
going
help
Will
with-
Levis? Is
Oh,
Tampa
well.
going Will Levis right now?
Well,
Well, they say the best player available is either going to be Jahmyr Gibbs or Luke Van Ness. And then Will Levis
They don't
would
have
be
a
the third
quarterback.
best available.
Look at that Baker.
Will Levis, at
Baker
this point, is the third
Kyle
best
Trask.
available.
we got Kyle Trask, brother.
No.
They got a quarterback, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can run with Kyle Trask for a year. I'll be honest. What was that?
I like Kyle Trask a little bit.
Oh, no, actually, Deontay Banks is a corner from Maryland still on the board.
Yes.
Look at their needs, man. They need a safety, linebacker, tackle, wide receiver.
Offensive line. Offensive line, dude. Darnell Wright.
Darnell Wright?
Yeah.
You mean Washington?
No. Darnell Wright.
Oh, he's not even on my board. He's not even on my board, man.
Tackle out of Tennessee. He's the highest rated right tackle on PFF.
Beast.
Yeah.
Darnell Wright is the 4th rated tackle on my board.
Interesting.
I'm probably going Broderick Jones here, guys.
Okay. He's already drafted, so fucking pay
You
attention.
drafted already?
To
God damn it, dude.
He literally got
I can't
drafted
fucking
the
see
pick
it.
before. It was the whole pick where we were arguing. Fucking
okay.
what?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's hard to see 2 tackles. Yeah, then I don't see him going tackle here, honestly.
DeJuan Jones.
Yeah,
from
probably
Indianapolis,
not that.
Indiana. Come on, man. Go ahead and get him off the board.
Honestly, I'm gonna go Drew Sanders, Arkansas.
All right, Drew Sanders. Fucking all right. So reach. Nice.
Former Alabama prospect, 5-star coming out of high school. Led the nation in tackles last year. I mean, I think, yeah, that's the pick there. Drew Sanders.
That's a terrible pick.
It's not a terrible pick. That's a great fucking pick, dude.
Go ahead. Yeah, I want you to defend it first.
All right, well, let's do this. Has some pass rush juice as a stand-up 5 technique, can play in space on zone.
Just read what somebody else said. Don't tell me what you think.
Understands
Okay.
understands underneath routes and will dive and will drive on the ball. He's a wrap-up tackler, can get off blocks in space and bring down ball carries. Tenacious getting to the football. Has sideline-to-sideline range. Explodes downfield and finds the target and tackles with a purpose. Carl's running backs aren't beating him to the edge. Long strider with speed and acceleration and high-level tackler. Has a twitch to cover running backs and tight ends in space. Has backsound track down ability. I mean, this dude is a do-it-all middle linebacker, linebacker.
Okay.
Desperately, they're about to
I'll
lose
summarize.
They're about to lose Devin White and the other guy, Levante Adams.
It
They
makes
need
sense.
to go ahead and shore up their defense.
Yeah, it makes sense to
and
go
he-
linebacker.
he's 6'4".
Reach, but
6'4",
yeah,
235, and he's a Texas native. I think that's a Bro, he's a surefire All-Pro.
There you go. What team were you picking for again? Remind me. You just said Texas native. Yeah. So what's Texas native have to do with anything?
You know he's built Ford tough.
Oh, okay, got you. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think that he's one of the best linebackers in the class, so it makes sense from that perspective. I just think this is a reach on linebacker. I think linebacker is a position similar to running back that's been devalued. To the point where I think this is a guy you could possibly pick up day 2, or you might be able to get Dan Campbell day 2, but you probably get this guy because Dan Campbell, I keep saying fucking Dan Campbell, Jake Campbell probably goes before this guy, in my opinion. So
I don't know.
We'll see though. It just depends on system. To be honest, what kind of linebacker you want. So yeah, I agree with that.
The thing that blows me is I don't know if he played middle at Arkansas. When he was at Bama, he was edge. So I don't know what position he's going to be in the NFL.
He can play multiple. That's what they said. You can line him up everywhere. Yeah. He's not limited to his ability. He's a freak of nature.
No, he was really good. Like I was really upset he left, but I understood Dallas Turner and Will Anderson were ahead of him.
Well, and then he moved to interior linebacker at Arkansas, and he fucking dominated, which was fucking. It was crazy to watch. Honestly, I watched the game, and he just flashed on the screen. I'm like, okay, well. How the fuck did he not get on the field?
Interesting. It might be a big difference maker pick. So right here we got the Seattle Seahawks. I think this was Harold's pick, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Harold, I got you back in the.
Can I just add on one last point to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
He had the second most sacks in the.
You're next, by the way.
Behind Will Anderson.
Okay, nice. Thank you for adding that. So do you see what we got, Harold?
Seattle. So we already took. They pick at 5 again?
Anthony Richardson.
Sorry.
Says that they could use a guard, center, defensive line is what this is saying. He just passed on Darnell Wright, just for the record. If you want to see something by position, I could filter it by position if you'd like.
Who's Seattle's tight end right now?
I almost picked Will Levis for him. Made me tighten up a little bit. Who is their tight end? Is Will Dissly still there?
Yeah, they may be a Darnell Washington candidate. Damn, dude, him and Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, that athleticism's crazy.
He's heavy-footed though.
He's a tight end.
Yeah, I mean,
he's 6'8".
I mean, just look at the tight ends that are being drafted, bro.
Yeah, he's heavy-footed. There's no doubt.
Dude, he ran a 4.4. What are we talking about?
What the fuck? He didn't run a 4.4. What are you saying?
What was it, 4.5 or 4.4?
Oh, Noah Fant as well. He's over there.
Okay. I'm gonna go with that dude from Iowa, that Luke Van.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's a bust. He's a bust, brother. Don't pick him, brother.
I like this
pick. Oh my god,
he was the best player on the board.
Luke Van Ness.
I mean, you did just pass on Tyree Wilson, but I'm not trying to freak out here. It's all good. I'll pick him, like I said. But no, I like this pick, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm gonna freak out. You just picked Luke Van Ness over freaking Tyree Wilson, and he's rated as the lower prospect here, brother.
Well, I mean, it doesn't mean.
God, you and your ratings.
Go ahead, Harold. He
has 14 sacks over the past 2 seasons.
Brother, let Harold hop in here and defend his pick, brother.
Honestly, didn't know Tyree Wilson was still on the board.
God damn it.
All
right. We'll let you go ahead and run that
redo. Yeah. Tyree Wilson's the pick.
I mean, Luke Van Ness had a great combine.
Yeah, I like the pick. I'll be honest. I do like the pick.
But his bend is lacking. Spends too much time grappling with blockers. And he wasn't even a full-time player in 2022. That's fucking insane.
So it says Van Ness here is an ascending power rusher with unique strength and flexibility. When he wants to go through offensive linemen, he almost always can. He earned 80.2 overall grade this past fall with 46 pressures on 271 pass rushing snaps. Says he's versatile on the D-line and Any other moves? So yeah, just says
JJ Watt. He's JJ Watt.
that's fucking great. All right, brother.
I mean, that's the type of player that they kind of give me vibes that they think he is, JJ Watt.
Yeah,
which
and
I'm not
honestly,
too sure about that.
I like that
Racist.
pick. I agree, and we all agree that Tyree Wilson. But it is interesting to see. I do think we could be predicting a little bit of a possibility. I think Tyree Wilson could drop. To be honest, I could see something like this happening.
Yeah.
I think around here he probably comes off the board if anything. But he's the type of player I could see getting a lot of hype leading up to the draft that ends up falling when the draft comes. So, and I could even see something like Lucas Van Ness being drafted ahead of him for sure. That's like when fucking the Raiders drafted who they draft Pharrell in front of? Cleveland Pharrell.
What?
It was something.
Bunch of
Joey Bosa?
yeah, a bunch of people, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think both. No, Bosa went number 2 overall.
Yeah. Both of them went super high because Nick Bosa went 1,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
No, he went 2.
What was the question?
2 as well. Okay, damn. Honestly, I don't even remember the original question. It's all good. Let's get to the. Oh, so by the way, we should say we are passing up the Miami Dolphins pick. So everybody wave goodbye to the Miami Dolphins pick, and
That's bullshit, bro.
yeah.
What do you mean? That it made you fucking competitive.
What do you mean? It made
Dude, we
us
had to forfeit
competitive.
that pick. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
that was the pick that you had to give up.
Yeah.
With this pick,
Yeah.
we would be drafting.
Bro, come on, we weren't
Jahmyr
cheating,
Gibbs
bro.
or a tight end.
That's what they said. I'm just saying what they said, brother. I'm not saying you was cheating. They said you was cheating. That's all. I'm just, my bad.
Paul
tried
said we
to
need to get better. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, 2 is out of there.
Darnell Wright, he would be. That's interesting. Yeah, let's talk about that real quick while we're passing the Miami Dolphins. Theoretically, if you were in this position, I'd like to hear who you guys would be interested in taking.
Fucking left tackle
all
is
right.
a no-brainer here.
Darnell Washington. No, okay. I'll take that back.
Yeah.
Probably Jahmyr Gibbs.
No, what the fuck?
Even though he might be available in the second round, you think you just?
I don't think he is. No, okay, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because what is the one position that Buffalo needs?
Running back would be a huge difference maker for him for
Running
sure.
back. So
they have
So you want to play Jahmyr Gibbs twice a year, or do you want him on your team?
They need a linebacker.
Running back.
They need a linebacker, dude. Because what's his face went to Chicago.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
offense,
They're not going running back in Buffalo.
Josh Allen was their leading rusher. Yes, they are. They're going running back.
They're going to let James Cook get more run. They just drafted him last year.
Yes.
Like I said,
They're not going running back, brother. I'm sorry.
I like your I like your thought process though. It's interesting for the Miami Dolphins perspective because we're not talking about the Bills yet. So let's save that conversation. We're talking about the Miami Dolphins to have this pick and to use it to think about it kind of defensively in the way that you're talking. Where you're like, hey, we would like that player. We also do not want to see that player twice a year. I think that's an interesting perspective on this pick.
Paul,
So,
I just realized
I thought the same thing.
That's your Bama bias coming in.
No, okay, no, hold on. Earlier we talked about how Jahmyr Gibbs fits the Miami Dolphins offense perfectly, and he does. Okay, we really need that change of pace, running back, that receiving back.
Dalvin Cook would be great for the same reason.
Dalvin Cook would be a great pickup. But if we're sitting here with this pick, if we're sitting here at this pick, then you know what? This is a guy that fits what we're doing. Like I said, you take him out of the division, off of a division opponent's team, and put him on your team. I like the pick. It's that or a tight end at this point.
Here's my problem.
One second. So Darnell Washington is the big tight end at this moment, and the problem is, Mike McDaniel likes targets who can catch the ball and get upfield. Not saying that Darnell Washington can't. But Darnell Washington is a more stiff tight end. So I think that they would be looking for a good blocking tight end who is a little more, again, as we were saying, more athletic.
That's what he is. He's a blocking tight end.
Yeah.
But one that's a little more better yak. Again, it's hard to say that, but I just don't know if it fits. That's what I'm saying.
You're not going to find a George Kittle.
Running back is another hole. Again, Durham Smythe is a fine player.
I think
I know he's a Notre Dame man.
I wouldn't hate going into the season with our tight end room that we have and just add a third round, fourth round tight end.
I think if the draft board fell differently, then for sure Michael Mayer, and we're not even picking, but if Michael Mayer, which I mean probably less so than even Dalton Kincaid, I think that would be beautiful.
That's what you just had. You just had a Dalton Kincaid, and
No,
you let him walk.
fuck.
Yeah,
makes
we
no
don't need
sense.
Dalton Kincaid. We need
No.
someone that can block.
You
We
just
need someone that
had
can
a
block.
Dalton Kincaid, brother. What that
Yeah,
makes
no.
sense.
Dalton Kincaid is way better than Mike Gesicki. Please stop. Please stop. But either way, so the Dolphins, they're not picking either way. So let's go ahead and get into. Oh, by the way, Harold, did you have anything to say about that? Because you fell out, and you hopped back in. So
yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Perfect.
So I would it's tempting as it would be to pick Gibbs here. And I kind of disagree with Paul a little bit about keeping him away from Buffalo. I remember last year, this same time, I really wanted James Cook really bad. And he went to fucking Buffalo, and I thought he was going to kill us. And he didn't really. So
he'll kill you. He'll kill you next year, though. Watch.
Nah, I don't think so. He's not his brother.
Nah, bro. He's good. He's good. They just didn't utilize him that much because of his fumbling issue. He'll get that right. They'll play him more.
But if I'm the Dolphins right here, honestly, I'm doing the most unsexy thing, and I'm drafting
The right tackle?
Yes, from Tennessee. Yeah, protect Tua at all fucking costs.
Yeah. This man barely finished the season and almost retired, and you don't want to draft a tackle.
So
exactly.
It's not that I don't want to draft tackle. Austin Jackson was hurt. I don't. Again, the whole team is in on giving Austin Jackson this season, that they think that he's actually a good tackle. I see promise in him. I don't know, man. Like I'm stuck there. Like I don't disagree with you. I'll say that. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah,
I would even
Austin Jackson.
I would even take
Jackson. You lose Tua.
Yeah.
I would even entertain the dude from Florida, the guard. What's his name? Osiris. Yeah, he's nasty. I would even.
I like
and
that.
then kick Robert Hunt to right tackle.
I mean,
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I like offensive line. Period. I was going to say that earlier. I'm glad you guys brought it back to that because I think offensive line would probably be the pick here, and that allows us to double back and hopefully getting Jahmyr Gibbs and an offensive lineman in this draft would be such a steal. That's why, to Paul's point earlier, when you said we would have got better, of course, that is like. I agree with that. That's why it's so disappointing and disheartening, considering where we're at. We're not the Washington Commanders, a shit franchise.
I think
we're
honestly,
right on that. Excuse me. Can I finish speaking? Can I finish? Okay, I'm gonna have to mute you because you're bullshit. Like I understand.
Nah, brother, because you're talking shit, brother.
Oh my god.
I was playing. I was literally bullshit. Come on.
Gibbs is not a fit, dude.
Gibbs is a great fit. But here, let me just finish this point real quick.
He's not an every down back. You already have gadget backs there.
No, we have
workhorse back though.
But Jahmyr Gibbs is way more of a receiving back, where we can integrate him into the passing game. Like the guys that we have actually fit him perfectly. We can have two bruisers. We have two bruisers, power backs who we're not going to rely on in that way. But I wouldn't even like power back is to not give their elusiveness enough credit. But that's kind of like what they would be, right? They would be in between the tackle.
That's how you would have to use them. You would have to use them that way, but that's the problem.
And then they would still give you the possibility and the potential for big plays. So it's the best of both worlds, and they're always going to be fresh. And then as far as when you're trying to integrate the passing game more, Jahmyr Gibbs being back there is such a cheat code, and he's not like somebody. It's not like Reggie Bush when it's like we're like he can't run in between the tackles. Like we've seen him do that. That's why the Alvin Kamara comparison is so much more apt. Go ahead. Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts.
5'9", 199, brother. I just, you know what I'm saying? Listen.
We've seen
that's
it.
Actually pretty. That's pretty solid if you think about it. 5'9", 200 pounds of all muscle is a pretty solid guy.
Motherfucker's Diesel.
But he's not making it. He's not a inside runner. He's not that guy. He's not that.
No, he's
back.
not.
Brian Robinson. Okay, so
you're not getting him to be that.
You already have.
Yeah,
it's like.
He has the ability to do that.
Roster who do what
but Bijan Robinson,
you're not drafting
22 miles per hour like Jahmyr Gibbs does. That's what he is.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Jahmyr Gibbs is 20 miles per hour.
Bijan can take a fucking dive and take it for fucking 90. There's the difference. He can literally take it for a dive,
not the NFL,
make the NFL. Run through the middle line.
He's not going 90 in the NFL.
Shake the safety and then break it for a touchdown, brother. He was doing it at Texas. What are we saying?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Listen, I think, great. Yeah, great. I mean, we all opinions here definitely. It's all valid.
I'm not gonna,
Yeah, I can see all of those. Well,
He
actually,
can't
Paul, go
pass
ahead.
block. They're
Well,
saying
here,
they're saying Gibbs can't pass block. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do with him
Deuce
on
and
third down?
Andre, I want to hear what Paul has to say because you've gotten
Throw
it
him a
on
swing pass.
you've gotten on other people's points, but you haven't really been able to say your point on this. So, do you want to go ahead and say what you have to say, if anything?
No, like I was just saying, like, I'm not going to sit there and dog Bijan. Like Bijan's a great player. I just, like I said, I think he's a step slower than I would prefer. I mean, he's going to be a great back. I disagree. He's going to break 90-yard plays. Again, Jahmyr Gibbs is just a different type of player. No, you're not getting him to get you the third and one or the fourth and half the yard. That's why we have a Wilson back there. We know we don't need him for that. What he is catching a swing pass and going 95. What he is running that ankle route on a linebacker, getting wide open on 3rd down and 4, and then catching it and going 26 yards. In a 2-minute drill. That's what you would draft him for.
Sure. So
it's different. But again, we don't even have the pick, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting conversation though. It's interesting to hear where everybody would have went with it. And Harold, did you get to say what you wanted to say on this?
Yeah, drafting the tackle, protect two at all costs.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yep. No, I'm with that. All right. So Lucas Van Ness just came off the board. So that was Harold's pick. So this is me actually. So I'm picking for the LA Chargers. Okay. So tough. I mean, yeah.
I can see Gibbs going here.
Interesting. Yeah, because the Austin Eckler situation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting.
Do they go tight end? Who's their tight end right now?
Who is their tight end? Last year, Gerald Everett, right? Or did he?
Yeah, it was Everett. I think he's still there. There.
Yeah,
I'd upgrade that.
Yeah, that would make a little bit of sense. Go ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised if Herbert has another good year statistically because with Kellen Moore, they're off the OC there now.
Oh yeah,
but
no, that's a good point. Deontay Banks is still there. It's tempting to go. It is tempting to go corner at this point, in my opinion. They really struggled, especially coming off like that game against Jacksonville, where in the second half they just got torched by Trevor Lawrence. It's like I would not be mad at upgrading. Linebacker is up for consideration. I just don't think that Jack Campbell really fits their play style and what they have going on. So I think I'd pass there. And then this says wide receiver. I think honestly, it's not fun, but I'd probably go Deontay Banks. I like him a lot. And I don't think they need help on the pass rush. I was obviously looking to make Tyree Wilson work, but
is he still on the board?
He's still on the board.
Yeah.
Wow.
They could use Tyree Wilson though. Who's there? Yeah. They got Boza and who?
Khalil Mack.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and I feel like as far as corner, that like I said, I feel like they were very vulnerable through the passing game last year, and there was a few games where I think that was pretty evident, and they just couldn't support Justin Herbert in the offense. Justin Herbert in the offense got caught with their dicks in their hands many times, putting up 30 points, and their defense fucking giving up 35 or 34 or whatever. So this is the Ravens pick here. So this is Paul, right? Paul, you're after me. Yep. So you got the Baltimore Ravens pick. You have the standstill between your front office and your franchise quarterback. Will Levis is still on the board. What do you do?
Hendon Hooker's still on the board.
Hendon Hooker is still on the board.
Who we just signed OBJ. I believe in Duvernay.
They're gonna feed OBJ the ball, bro.
What was that last one?
They're gonna feed OBJ the football. I think you.
Paul, I couldn't catch you on that, man. You're kind of breaking up a little bit. Go ahead and try to say it again.
Who's their other receiver? Perriman?
Yep, Perriman still.
No, they got the good dude, what's
Oh,
his name?
Rashad
Bateman.
Bateman. Bateman.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. It's Rashad Bateman. So you know what? This is where I think Jahmyr Gibbs will go.
Oh wow.
I was so we got forced by Bateman.
But they got J.K. Dobbins, right? That's it.
We got J.K. Dobbins. He has been hurt. Who's the dude from Miami that they had sitting behind him? He played a lot. Gus. Oh fuck. It was Gus something. Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs. That's where you were gonna go.
Yeah. I'll go Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I like that. I think that there's other positions I think they could have filled. Like the wide receiver thing, I feel like is way more questionable in my opinion. You have OBJ, which we haven't seen him be a number one receiver in years. You're going to definitely be asking him to do that at this point. Rashad Bateman's still up in the air after last year. They didn't support him in the best way, obviously, because you had Tyler Huntley throwing the ball, although he was a Pro Bowler, just to be clear. But the thing I would bet, I kind of would struggle with that too, though, because I don't think there's any wide receivers here that I think are like slam dunks by any means. Like, probably for an Addison, I would go, but then you still kind of feel that kind of feels like Marquise Brown a little bit. It feels like Hollywood Brown,
right?
As a pick.
I feel like you're reaching on that receiver because you don't have the number one receiver there. And again, Jahmyr Gibbs gives you that threat in the passing game. And it's just with the creases that they create with the running game due to Lamar, you give either one a crease and it's to the house. So yeah, I think it's a home run hit with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Nice. Alrighty, so Denzel, it's your turn.
I disagree with Paul, but I also agree with Paul. I think he would be a great fit there. I don't know if they should necessarily draft Gibbs, but I do think he would be a weapon there. Just when I look at, the Ravens, I definitely think receiver is like their worst issue, and that it sets like a big hole. That hole is so big there. They have OBJ. I say they go get a deep threat. Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Josh Downs. I mean, any one of those guys would do.
Yeah, I worry. Go ahead.
So is
Marvin Mims?
Is this a spot where someone like Miami could trade Cedric Wilson, their second, and a second next year, and move up into the first round?
For who?
100%.
For who?
Cedric Wilson, who signed on to be a second receiver. He's not a slot. He's an outside receiver. So we signed. It was
who are we trading?
Who's up? I'm saying
for this
pick. For the pick.
Oh, for Jahmyr Gibbs.
And then 2 picks.
To draft Gibbs?
No, I'm saying just to move up and draft. You can draft a tight end here, a tackle here. But I'm saying this is a situation where Baltimore might be looking to trade out.
Oh,
yeah, but to give up that capital, don't you think there has to be a player here that you really love that you feel like you need to give up, or else just sit back and get who falls to you, right? So there has to be a player that.
Who's going to fall to the 21st pick of the second round?
Yeah.
No.
Well, 22nd.
So I actually agree a lot with the pick. Baltimore has proven they don't necessarily invest much in the receiver position. I think they addressed it with a Dell, and they're pretty much done. They also draft a lot of the Alabama players.
Do you think they think he's enough? Like, you think he's a number? They signed him thinking that is all we need in the wide receiver.
No, they've been trying to get DeAndre Hopkins as well.
It's Baltimore, dude. It's Baltimore. They operate with basic and they throw it to Mark. That's what they do.
Yeah, but they're trying to change that, though. I think the whole thing with them getting a franchise quarterback in Lamar now and them trying to pay him, they understand they have to actually, invest into that like they've never done before, because instead of the other teams that they've had, which they still have a great defense, I mean, their offense is the bigger factor on the team. So they're investing differently. I think offensive weapon. I mean, I do like what Paul said about Gibbs. Don't get me wrong, because I think the creases they do create, I mean, would give him gaps to run through that we thought J.K. Dobbins would dominate, you know.
But I think we have more faith in J.K. At least I'll speak for myself here, and I think this is how I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to handle it. I think that we have just as much faith in J.K. Dobbins being able to be successful as we do OBJ, for example. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's just as much injury concern and just as much good tape on either of them, where I'm willing to put my eggs in the J.K. Dobbins basket for a year and support him in some other way, which Gus Edwards has shown the ability to support and step in when need be. You know, whereas with the wide receiver situation, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen Odell Beckham be a number one receiver in literally like 7 years. So that's a big concern for me. And to Paul's other point, which I think was actually a really good point, as far as like them reaching out about the DeAndre Hopkins situation. So that already kind of gives you a glance into their mindset, and that they do acknowledge that they need to bolster that wide receiver position. So I don't know. But Jahmyr Gibbs is definitely, I like him a lot. I hope the Miami Dolphins get him. So, I mean, just to be clear, where they go wrong. Yeah.
I mean, one thing I'm thinking is like think about like the teams that are probably trying to build up enough capital to get to one of those top 2 picks next year, and try to see what receiver. Like, for example, why doesn't Baltimore offer this pick and a third for Terry McLaurin? You know, someone like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Washington's not out of their damn fucking mind.
Or some shit. You know, like, you know, I don't know. I just don't know if a receiver here for Baltimore, if any receiver here on the board is going to be a difference maker, be number 1 receiver.
I agree with that.
I mean, you got receivers though, man. You got 2 receivers. Well, 1 receiver for sure that's ranked in the top 50 prospects in this whole draft. So
yeah, but the 22nd pick of the draft.
Yeah, and I don't think either of these receivers are a lot. I don't think any of these receivers, and I'm actually including Smith and Jigba in this, I don't think any of the receivers in this draft are as much, they're not as much of locks to be a Pro Bowler at their position as I view Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs. I think either of those guys, they go to a decent position, they have a higher ceiling than any receiver in this draft. So from that, now it's just a matter of, in my opinion, how much do you value the running back position, which I think there is precedent to lean on here with the Baltimore Ravens, in that they do obviously value the running back position more than most teams. But I don't know. I like J.K. Dobbins probably is the issue here, you know, just to be honest. So here, let's move on to the next pick because I want to make sure that we slide through this. Paul, you said you got to slide.
Yep. All right, guys.
Yes, sir. All right, brother. Peace. Yes, sir. Thank you for hopping in here, man.
Hey, so one last point before we move on.
Yeah.
So I actually completely disagree with you on J.K. Dobbins. I am all the way out.
Okay. Well, all right.
So that's why I like to give picks so much.
Yeah.
I think Baltimore, day 1 or week 1, they roll out Odell and Bateman. That's their receivers. Like, I think they're done at receiver. I know I said that earlier, but I think it's a big need. But they have proven and shown over time they don't think so. They'd rather throw the tight end and run the ball and play defense. So.
I think
real quick, how do you justify the reaching out about DeAndre Hopkins then, if you think that they're done at receiver? Because that's something I've heard. So I just wonder. Yeah, go ahead.
I haven't seen that. I mean, I think they signed Odell to please Lamar. I mean,
got you.
Yeah, to try and get Lamar back.
I still think they go receiver. I do like, you know, the Gibbs pick. I do disagree with you guys saying that wherever, you know, that he can be, you know, the same type of running back that Bijan can be. I don't see that, because for him to be able to do that, he has to be able to run in between the tackles, and he just hasn't shown me that is going to be his best trait in the NFL. You know, I think he'll be able to do it.
Are you responding to something I said?
Yeah, the All-Pro thing with, you know, because you both agreed that he would be All-Pro.
I already said that. Hold up real quick, because I want to make sure that we're on the same page. So the Jahmyr Gibbs, I already said does not have as high of a ceiling as Bijan earlier. So it's like I don't think that they're the same, but there's more than one Pro Bowl level running back in the NFL. So I'm saying, just like Saquon could be a Pro Bowler, also so can Kamara. You feel what I mean? Like something like that. But I'm not ever saying that he's going to be on the same level as a rusher. I think Bijan can be like a 1,500-yard rusher, like over 10 touchdowns, like something significant to a team. Maybe not this year, but like next year. I mean, running backs get in their prime quickly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think definitely a difference there. I think with Jahmyr Gibbs, you're probably looking at like 800 rushing yards and like 600 receiving yards, which is still great.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. I mean, I don't think 1,000 yards rushing, but I do think he could give you like maybe, 1,200, 1,300 all purpose. You know what I'm saying? Which is still good. That's good production.
Yeah.
Like, 7-8 touchdowns.
He actually
he
actually reminds me more of ETN than he does Kamara.
Okay. All right. I like that. I like that comparison.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the thing is, if you get him in space, deadly, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Very deadly.
Yeah,
but the problem is you got to get him in space, and that's not always the thing that happens the most.
Yeah, but hold on, just because the thing that I keep pushing back with that is that there's been many times that they've run a draw out of the shotgun formation, and he's cut up the field for 30 yards. So it's like, you know what I mean? See, he can run in between the tackles. It's like it's probably not ideal, and he's not going to be able to do that. He's not going to be able to do that 20 plus times a game. I agree with that, but he can do it. He can definitely do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to scheme for it. I think you have to scheme him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
unfortunately.
Fair. Yeah. Well, here, let's move on to the next pick. So this is the 23rd pick for the Minnesota Vikings. This last pick was Paul. So this is you, Deuce Andretti, brother. Who are you picking for the Minnesota Vikings? Right here, it says their needs are wide receiver, defensive line, linebacker, and corner.
All right. Let's see.
They lost Adam Thielen.
You go up?
They lost Adam Thielen.
How much longer do they rock with old Kurt?
That's fair because you got Will Levis here at this point. You have Hendon Hooker still on the board. So, I mean, Will Levis definitely has fallen at this point. You got this defensive tackle right here. I'm not too familiar with this guy from Pitt, but I've heard a lot of great things through just like the research that I've done after the fact. This Kansas guy.
I think
but I didn't watch him, honestly. I didn't watch any of his games this year. Well, no, I did because I watched Jordan Addison play this year. So I just didn't notice him. But that doesn't mean anything. Here it says where he wins is with his twitch. So he's a twitchy defensive tackle, penetrating 3 technique. I definitely, like I said, I watched some of his tape, and I definitely saw that. He was a monster on film. So I could see this being the pick. He's 6 foot, so, that's not huge, but
no, I don't really like that as my defensive tackle unless like he's playing the 3 technique.
Well, real quick, he did. Well, I wanted to know he led all interior defenders with a 92.4 pass rushing grade this past fall. So I mean, goddamn.
I mean, he could be it, but unfortunately I have a feeling they're going to go quarterback here.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, they're going to go quarterback, and I think we're going to go with. Tough choice between Hooker and Levis.
Yeah, you're kind of breaking it right now because it is. Honestly.
That's not a tough choice, bro. Hooker is way better.
And not for me,
Yeah,
but
I could see it being
the Vikings perspective. The Vikings perspective, the type of mold of player that they would probably want to draft.
Can I be honest, real quick, before you make this pick? I think at this point, going quarterback with this team, that I think is going to be mindful of the fact that the NFC is up for grabs, and specifically their division, the North, is so up for grabs right now with the Lions, the Vikings.
That's
Packers.
a great point. That's a great point.
I think they probably fulfill some of these needs. So they probably take this Kansas kid, to be honest. Like, I mean,
let's be honest here. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's be honest here for a second. We're talking Vikings, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, interior. I mean, defensive line is just not a need on their board right here. It's just linebacker and corner, wide
Yeah.
receiver, interior offensive line. I'm probably not going linebacker because there's only 2 first-round linebackers and they're gone already.
Okay.
There is some first-round corners. That dude from Maryland is out there, isn't he? Banks.
No, he got drafted.
He's gone.
He did? Okay.
You got Emmanuel Forbes right here.
All right, so I'm definitely not doing that. I will go ahead and probably draft the Miles Murphy, the edge rusher out of Clemson.
I was gonna say, yeah,
over Tyree Wilson.
Oh fuck! See, I keep forgetting he's on the board, bro.
Which is fine, I guess. If that's that. Like I said, I could see it happening like that. To be honest, go ahead.
I just think with Miles Murphy,
they're definitely different players.
Yeah,
I think he's more of their pass. He's more of a power rusher, which is I think what they like. They like those power,
This right here, the little breakdown, and then I'll let you get your thoughts together, and then you can make a final pick. And I want to hear everything you have to say. Murphy is too freaky to pass up. The 6'5", 275-pounder is this year's version of Trevon Walker. Murphy, which is not good. Murphy can to add some pass rushing moves, but he still stacked up 76 pressures over the past 2 seasons. Where he wins with his power. What's his role? Something's really loud right now, by the way. I'm just saying. I think I'm you're all good, brother. And what's his role? Project Erie down edge. Murphy may very well suffer through some head scratching years before paying off. He's just that far away technically. The payoff, however, could be massive. So what he can improve on, unlocking his hips. So what's your final kind of breakdown of that and opinion of it?
I mean,
you want to go ahead and lock him in?
Him and Tyree Wilson. I mean, what's Tyree Wilson? Let me see.
You right here. Let's see. Yeah, because I mean, he at least deserves consideration for fuck's sake at this point. All right, so his is where he wins is with his wingspan. Due to his size, length, and play style, Wilson can make it nearly impossible to get into his pads. That's a good way to consistently make plays along the defensive line. What's his role? Versatile D-line. Wilson can play hand up, hand down, outside, or inside. That's the beauty of his unique physical play set or skill set. And then this is just the general breakdown. Wilson is a handful for every lineman who has to block him. The 6'6", 275-pounder will have a length advantage.
Lock in Wilson.
Yeah.
Jesus
all right.
Yeah.
That scout was definitely fucking blowing him off after practice. My goodness.
All right. Well, hey, I love that, man. Wilson is officially so he's a Minnesota Viking, man. I think that's a great fit. They're obviously over the recent history, they've been known for great defenses, and that's kind of fallen off the past year or so.
I like his size. He's 6'6".
Once I said that, you said lock it in, and I was like, oh, okay, chill.
He's 6'6", 271. I like that. He's a little bit bigger. I mean, because if you think about pass rushers,
he's from Texas,
Minnesota,
like you like.
You got like Daniil Hunter, Zadarius Smith. Those are the type of guys that they draft in Minnesota. Those are big, long, defensive ends. He fits the mold of what they like in Minnesota.
That makes a lot of sense. Here, what he can improve real quick is consistent technique. If Wilson can get his hand placement on point, it's game over. He fires them a little wildly at the moment. So, not much not to like.
It's not much. I mean, and they don't mind. They teach pass rushers in Minnesota. So they don't mind developing those guys.
He had 8 sacks, by the way. 8 sacks this year, 10 hits, 32 hurries. That's up from 6 sacks the previous year, 5 hits, and 26 hurries. So
he's getting better too, and he's a freaky athlete, which is
and also
that's one thing you can't buy, right?
He's in a situation. Well, he's in a situation at Texas Tech where teams are able to completely scheme for him too, along the defensive line. So, I mean, when you're coming to play Texas Tech, he's the guy to worry about on the defensive line. Whereas with Alabama, that's still the case with Will Anderson to a point. But that's part of the curve that we have to give Will Anderson is he does have support where you can't forget about the other guys on the defensive line in Alabama. They're all
Yeah, you got Dallas Turner on the other side. He's a first-round pick.
yeah. So here, let's go ahead and get into this next pick, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Harold, I believe this is your pick, brother. So
24, is that right?
24, yes, sir.
Let's see here.
They need a corner, safety, D-line, interior offensive line, and I would say they definitely need a quarterback too. But hey, what do I know?
What?
I think they need a quarterback, brother.
Well,
Trevor's
off the board. Don't play. Yeah.
bro. Trevor is
Average.
good.
He's average.
No, he's not garbage. How was he garbage?
I said average. I didn't say garbage.
Oh,
I said average.
oh.
He's average quarterback, man.
I mean, I could see how you could make that assumption. His first year was absolutely trash. Last year was pretty good, but that's all you have to go off of right now. So if you average those two, then he's average. But I think he's going to be great going forward.
Well, no, his first year was trash. Second year was decent. Third year, lot left to be desired. I mean, you know.
This is his third year, right?
Yeah, he's going into
he's going into year 3.
A lot left to be desired, I think, you know, is his statement.
Exactly.
There, you know. I mean, I think he threw as much. I think he threw more interceptions and touchdowns in the playoffs last year. I mean,
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
that's not what you really like to see from your. I mean, he literally lost them the games. We're being honest.
Who were they playing? The Chiefs, right? Was it the Chiefs?
And they played the Chargers. You freaking threw
Chiefs is
3
who
or 4
they
picks
beat.
against the
I mean, lost.
Chargers.
Lost to.
They beat the Chargers though.
Yeah.
He still threw 3 or 4 picks, brother. It wasn't. They didn't win because of him.
Well, he threw him back in the game. He threw 4 touchdowns after.
Yeah, I mean they're not winning without him.
He just negated what he fucking gave them. I mean,
they're not winning. They're not. Yeah, but they're not winning without. They're not winning. I mean, they're not winning without him. They're not winning with the backup. Like,
I agree,
brother. I mean, they might have been able to win with the backup if they put him in after the first interception. Be honest with you.
No. All right, so look.
Come on, dude.
Harold, who is it that you picked to support him?
I'm gonna go with. Scroll down a little more, please.
Yes, sir.
No, they got what's his face there? I think he's on the franchise tag.
I mean, they say they're going defense or lineman, but you know.
I like Osiris Torrance there.
Yeah, I think that's
actually lock that in. Yeah, go ahead.
Keep him in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have a history of drafting Gainesville players too.
Yeah, and honestly, I think he's just going to be better when he has a quarterback that's going to stay in one fucking spot and he knows where he's going to be at. That's going to help him a lot. So where he wins, easy power. Torrance makes moving people against their will look like child's play. He can move defensive tackles off the line with his lower body or torque them out of the hole with his upper body. Oh, hello. What's his role? Guard. There's never been a more guard prospect. Torrance was built in a lab to play guard. So he's 6'5", 330 pounds. What can he improve? And it says very little. Physical limitations are the biggest thing holding Torrance back at this point. There's not much else on tape. Yeah, that I'd call glaring. Because I think a lot of the issues with because I mean, Anthony Richardson was getting his ass kicked in the pocket last year, but a lot of that is because of his kind of
his play.
Yeah,
he would run into danger instead
for
of
sure. Yeah, a little panicky in the pocket. So, and this says he's the top guard prospect in this draft. 6'5", 347 pounds. He's a big boy to try and overpower. He started for 3 seasons at Louisiana before transferring to Florida, where he earned an 88 overall guard grade last year. Interesting. So yeah, no, I think that's a great pick. I think at this point you're thinking long term when you have a young quarterback that I think they really believe in. Definitely support him. So here we got the New York Giants, and this is my pick. So I was hoping Brian Branch would be there at this point because I think this is one of the best spots for him in the draft.
Man, you guys were a lot higher on Brian Branch than I was. I never got a chance to say anything, but I've seen a lot of mocks. I've seen a lot of mocks of him going in a second round.
I'll be honest
Yeah,
with
I
you.
mean,
So Brian
go ahead.
Branch didn't put out the best tape at Alabama at times, but it's because he took the toughest assignments, right? And he was asked to do a lot of different things. So I don't. I think with him, once you see him get settled in at a position, I think that kid will show you his true ability because I think he can be special, especially when you're not asking him to guard receivers and man coverage down the field. That's a little ridiculous.
I mean, he is a DB, right?
No, he's a safety. Safeties, you want them playing in space. You want them sitting back over the top and jumping routes. I mean, as a corner, yeah, you jump routes, but that's only if you are able to like beat the wide receiver to the spot, which not many corners are able to do that. It takes like a lot of anticipation, you know what I'm saying? And you need to be super fucking fast also. It's another thing, which Brian Branch doesn't have that kind of speed. He's not that kind of,
Yeah, so I mean, real quick, just because I mean, so I agree as far as like, I thought they were higher on Brian Branch than I was. So I mean, I'm not quite like a top 10. Like they were talking about Brian Branch in the top 10. I don't remember where, but we started talking about.
It was 10. It was 10 with the Eagles. It was Denzel.
Okay. So yeah, at that point, that's why I said something to Denzel about him showing like safeties love because I was like, oh, that's a little high. But I think right here around this pick, like 25, that would be my pick for sure. If he was available here. But
they don't need a corner. They don't need a safety that bad, though. Honestly, they don't need safety that bad. That's like their least position need.
I disagree.
Who we talking about?
We're talking about
the Giants.
Giants.
Because
they got Xavier McKinley. They have Julian Love, who was an All Pro this year.
What?
Yeah, he was All Pro.
He was.
Yeah, I have to check
Bro,
that. You mean Pro Bowler, maybe.
Pro Bowler. Yeah,
yeah. All Pro is different. All Pro is like best.
Pro Bowler. My bad.
Yeah,
Pro Bowler, yeah. But I'm pretty sure he led their team in picks this year. Yeah, I mean, their secondary is not terrible, man. I think they need a corner more than anything, in my opinion. I definitely think they need a corner. That's very evident. They haven't been able to get that right yet. Which They might not. They might need to stop drafting corners because they just 500.
Well, I think honestly, with a pick like Brian Branch, for example, I think you give, like, I think Julian Love stays back there, but I think you have the potential for Brian Branch or McKinley probably is where you would end up going. He may end up dropping in and playing like,
Honestly, this franchise loves swinging and missing at receiver. So
I mean, honestly, I was I was leaning towards Jordan Addison as far as who's left, but even though I don't know. I'm kind of like the more it's tough in the first round to spend on a wide receiver that you don't think is going to be your number one receiver, and that's kind of how I feel about all these wide receivers. I feel like a lot of them have top end number two ability, but I don't feel very confident that any of them are going to come in and be like your best.
Is Zay Flowers on the board? Who's on the board for wide receiver?
Zay Flowers. I mean, but if it's me, I'm going to go Jordan Addison. So, I mean, I'm probably going to go there.
Well, yeah, either one of them. I think that's possible. I think that's definitely possible in my opinion.
Yeah.
Richie James was, I think, probably their most productive receiver last year, and he was 5'11". You know what I'm saying? Underneath guy. They got him the ball a lot on crossers. I could see them. I could see them doing that.
He went to the Chiefs, I think, and the Chiefs signed Richie James, I believe.
Yeah, he's from Sarasota, Florida. That kid's gonna be a baller. And
that, did they really?
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah, I saw that. Like it didn't.
Yeah, he's with the Chiefs, bro. He's about to get a payday after that shit.
Well, they got Kadarius Toney and Richie James. That's nuts. So yeah, I mean, I thought Richie James was there. So I mean, if he's gone, then for sure, I think you got to go wide receiver at this point. And you just paid Daniel Jones. You're probably about to have to pay Saquon Barkley or figure something out there. So yeah, I'd go Jordan Addison.
They signed Darren Waller, so they have a tight end. They need a receiver. They need a number one. They can have Sterling Shepard be their number two.
Good call on that. Yeah. And I do think Jordan Addison. I think top end he's Calvin Ridley, which I like a lot.
Just not as big though. Calvin Ridley's 6'2". I think Jordan Addison,
5'11".
He could be AB.
Yeah, he's 5'11".
He could be AB.
Skinny, 173, so super skinny.
That's AB right there.
Devontae Smith, bro, for the Eagles. That's a good
Devontae Smith
Sure.
also 6'1", 6'2". That's the problem. I mean, Addison's
but
small for his size, so
Yeah,
and
his
he's
frame
not
though
very.
makes the frame I get. Yeah, as a comparison, because 170 is fucking thin.
Yeah,
But
that's
here,
why I
let's
think
get into
AB
the next pick.
is the perfect one
Let-
for him,
let-
honestly.
Let's get
But
into
yeah,
this
let's go
next
on.
pick so we can wrap this up. So we got the Dallas Cowboys. They're picking. This is Deuce Andretti's pick. Their top needs here says running back, defensive inside, linebacker, and corner.
So in this scenario, Dallas is super pissed that Gibbs is already off the board because they would draft Gibbs in a heartbeat, I think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, they probably would. They don't mind drafting running backs first round.
I think they
I,
should.
Yeah,
I
and
think it's
having the
hard.
question with Tony Pollard, that makes a lot of sense.
I love Tony
Uh,
Pollard, but that injury.
And he's about to get paid, right? So it's like you can get out from
Yeah.
under that. You can have him for 1 year, have him come back from the injury. Hopefully he's great. But then you can get out from underneath and you have to pay him with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh man, I think they probably are going to go.
Oh my God.
They go
No,
offensive line here. Probably.
I could totally see Dallas taking Darnell Wright, bro, or Darnell Washington from
Gotcha. Yep, tight end from
yeah.
Georgia.
I could totally see that.
Only problem is where do you see I mean, you have some linemen they could take, but my only thing is that I don't, know enough about these linemen in a sense to say that there's another one.
Yeah. Dallas is notorious but they're notorious for taking a late lineman and it working out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they took, I think that kid Tyler Smith last year. He started a bunch of games for them.
So might be a stretch pick here, but
Okay.
what do you think about Brian Brees out of Clemson?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that. I think doing more with your defensive line and let me find them.
Yeah, I was almost going to say that kid from Pitt. They could strengthen the strength, but
Did they draft him already? Was he was drafted, right? We
The
put
guy
him
I was
out
no,
there.
talking about, Cansey?
no,
Yeah.
he's still there. I think
Yeah, he is.
He's still there too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could see either one of those two picks. Just because from a talent perspective, I think those two are probably the most two talented on the board. I mean, I'd probably go with the dude. I mean, the problem with Brzee, he's big boy. He's 6'6", bro. He's a monster.
Yeah,
Like
298.
he's a tank. You know what I mean? With the
He's
kid from Pitt, I think he's
he's the
more of like a 3-tech. Where
He is.
Brzee can play 1 or 3. So
yeah. He's the right skin color for Jerry Jones too. So
That's true. Let's lock it in.
yeah, I think Brzee will
He's a good old boy.
probably. I mean, it depends. You think Jerry likes a pass rusher out of D tackle or a more of a run stopper? Because this Brize's more of a run stopper. He can disrupt, but he's not going to be a double-digit sack guy from in the interior. Now, Spencer might give you that ability to be a double-digit sack guy from the interior. That's the only difference.
either one, I guess.
I mean, it's just your preference. What do you think Dallas would do? I don't know. I think Dallas likes to get pressure from the middle.
I think they would draft the white guy over the black guy.
Okay, all right. I mean, I don't know. Jerry drafts a lot of black guys in the first round.
That's true.
It's
You know
happened.
what I'm saying? I think he drafts a lot of black guys in the first round. I'm probably gonna go with the dude from Pitt personally.
Okay.
If I had a
I like that. I think that's a good pick. I think
They're talking about this dude being like a mini Aaron Donald. I mean, he went to the same college, but
Oh, really?
that's what
that's
saying.
what they say. Yeah, they say he's got good pass rush production.
Yeah, he's really good.
Nice. Okay, great pick. Yeah, I mean the tape, like I said, what I've watched of him has been great, but yeah, the Aaron
He's
Donald
only
comparison, that's rare air. This is your pick,
6'1".
by the way. This is your pick, Harold. So we're on the Bills. Make sure you
27.
feeling pretty good. Oh, my bad.
I'm gonna go give him Will McDonald the fourth from Louisville. A lot of talk about that, dude.
All right, I got a guy from Iowa. Is that right?
Yeah, Iowa State.
Okay.
Will McDonald.
All right.
What's his
Yeah, it's pulled up.
Pass
oh,
rusher.
edge rusher?
It does
Okay.
feel like a Buffalo Bills move. I'm not even gonna lie. McDonald will be
he's
one of the more.
mids. Oh, actually, no. He's 34 sacks.
A lot of talk about him. He's a good player.
McDonald will
34
be
sacks.
one of the more interesting defensive line prospects in the draft because his tape is almost all at a position that he won't play in the NFL. He was frequently a 4 or 5 technique in Iowa's defense at 236 pounds. McDonald is at his best in space off the edge, where he can be a pass rusher. He earned an 84.1 pass rushing grade in 2022 and an 85 in 2021. So yeah, all right, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't see as much on this guy.
Yeah, they said he's already a prospect who's probably hit his ceiling.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's not a bad pick. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know who picked that right there. The Bengals.
Bills.
The Buffalo.
Oh, Bills. I mean, I honestly.
They want to put pressure. They want to put pressure on Tua. They want to put pressure on Aaron Rodgers now.
I think a fire pick for me would be Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame, personally. You know, most sacks in Notre Dame program history were 26. You know, pass rusher.
In one season?
No.
Oh, no. And I think, in a career.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, his comp is Brian Abrakpo, which is, you know, he was like a 13 sack guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think they probably go with someone that's more of a pass rusher, just because they lack the production so much.
You guys buy into any of the hype around the Stephon Diggs stuff?
I love it as a Dolphins fan, bro. I love it as a Dolphins fan. To me, shit is not kosher in Buffalo.
I think people are overreading what he's saying, though. I think he's more throwing shots at the coaching.
That's a problem. What the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem. I think that means, for the coach, I think it's a problem, because that means he's probably going to get booed.
For the team cohesion, that's a problem. And the coach.
Are you talking the head coach or the OC? Because
he doesn't like the head coach. Yeah, he doesn't like Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott, I think.
Really, this is the first time I'm hearing this.
I think he has some good coaches around him. I don't know.
Nobody says
necessarily
because he's legit.
I don't think he's necessarily a great coach. I mean, I think he's had great coaches around him from what I've seen personally. But he's also had some great players playing for him.
I think he wants to put up stats like the rest of the guys. He wants to put up Jefferson, Tyreek stats, and he's not, and that's why he's frustrated.
No, I mean Stephon Diggs, puts up great numbers. He's putting up top 5 receiver numbers. I don't think that's an issue. His problem is when it comes to the big games, in the playoffs and stuff like that, shit just isn't shaking together. They get out coached in games, and that's an issue. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not just one time that's happened. It's happened multiple times for Stephon Diggs in general, where they've just been fucking flat out just out game planned. And then going into halftime with adjustments, they're getting fucking, they'll be up 20, they'll be up by fucking 2 touchdowns, come out, and then they fucking blow the lead and lose the game. I think that's what frustrates Stephon Diggs personally. But
this Will McDonald guy, man, he was double-digit sacks last year. He had half that this year, but I wonder why. But just interesting.
They said he played 5 technique, which is interesting because that's not. They say he plays better in space.
Yeah, I wonder if that's not what he was doing when he was when he had double-digit sacks. I don't know.
I think that's what it was. They had him playing outside more. So we'll see. That's the thing about college, right? It's like almost like when you see a guy play college basketball, you just don't know how he's going to play when the floor opens up. Just like with the NFL, like how is he going to be able to play where he really just has to do this one fucking job? You know what I'm saying? Like you just have to get to that motherfucker. Don't worry about nothing else.
No, I feel you. So right here, this is the Cincinnati Bengals. I actually think that the decision mainly here is going to be between the two Clemson defensive linemen, Miles Murphy and Brian Breesy. Could throw Emmanuel Forbes in there. I like him. He's a more physical. Bigger. Yeah, go ahead.
So I've seen a ton of mock drafts with them taking Darnell Washington. A ton.
Really?
Yes, a ton. Because they lost what's his face? Hayden Hurst went somewhere. They don't really have a tight end right now.
Yeah.
Well, they need a blocker too, so that kind of makes sense. But they need a lineman desperately.
Yeah.
He's basically a lineman, bro. Like you put him next to your weakest tackle and forget about it. Like
he's 6'8", 265. I agree. I mean, he can. No, 275. My bad. He can definitely be like another tackle. That's how they used him at Georgia, so I don't disagree. I mean, he kind of kills two birds with one stone. You know,
but I think that a lot of that was about Bowers, bro, because Bowers is so elite. Like they just happen to play
drops, bro. He had drops problem. That's the problem with Washington. His problem catching. So it wasn't that Bowers was just so elite. Dude, he's a 6'8", 275-pound tight end. You know,
but he's a gazelle though.
No, he is. That's what I'm saying. Like they tried to throw him the ball, but it's like we can't have you dropping every other or every third pass when Bowers is going to catch them all. You know, it's like it doesn't make sense to give you these passes that you're not going to catch. So I think he'll work. I mean, he'll go to the NFL. They'll work on that. But, you know, I don't mind that pick, you know. I mean, corner or safety, I think they definitely should go corner maybe if there's a good corner out there. The dude from Texas A&M, like we talked about, could be because, you know, and they lost Jesse Bates in free agency at safety. So, they need a safety too. But I don't really see one.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't really see a safety available.
You know, the Darnell Washington that's really tempting. really tempting.
I've seen a ton of mock. I like a ton. Like you guys probably know. I do a ton of.
Yeah.
What about that corner right there, that Forbes guy?
He's tiny, bro.
Let's see what he's.
He's tiny. Like Brent Grimes.
That's Sauce Gardner though, right there, man. 6'2", you know what I'm saying, 170. That's Sauce Gardner's frame.
Yeah.
That's how the big guys can move that good.
I thought he was a lot shorter than that. They made him sound like this dude was tiny. I thought he was. He's just skinny. He's just skinny. Yeah.
Super skinny. Yeah. So I mean, for me to be honest, I think like. Yeah, I'm really tempted by the Darnell Washington thing. I do think that upgrades their team a lot. And I think that if they don't take him here, they're not going to get another opportunity to take him. So honestly, damn it. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I was really tempted to take Miles Murphy, and I really did want to take him. But
he'll be a first round. I think Darnell will be a first round pick, not to cut you off.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the insight because, I mean, it does make a lot of sense for their team specifically. I see how that would benefit. Like that just adds another wrinkle to their offense. That's insane. Like imagining like calling up some kind of like tight end screen for fucking Darnell Washington's nuts. So to add that wrinkle when you have already who you have, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, like Joe Mixon, that's crazy. So I like that fit. So we are on the and I also, by the way, for Darnell Washington, I think his value, is really, it's going to be in the eye of the beholder a lot here, based off of what he brings to your team. So I think for the Cincinnati Bengals specifically, a team that does like to lock down and run it every once in a while, you know, he makes a lot of sense. And
they need a red zone threat too. They're not very good in the red zone.
Well,
I think he gives you that element.
And I think
I take that back. I lied. They're very good in the red zone. They got red zone threats,
but the thing is, he does give them a big red zone threat, and I think that he does create, like, you know, like you see stuff that the Kansas City Chiefs do with Travis Kelce as far as like short yardage shit, like shuffle passes and stuff like that. Being able to do that with Darnell Washington is crazy. You know what I mean? And I could see them getting creative and utilizing him in that way. I like, I'm comfortable with that pick.
I like Darnell. I mean, I like that. I still think that corner, if there's a corner out there, they might, you know, because who's that corner they have? Eli Apple? Yeah, bro. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like they're trying to get rid of him as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So they might go corner. I mean, especially if they can get a 6'1" corner who can run a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
I like Washington though. That's
No,
not bad.
I think he's
I
up
could
for
also
at that pick.
I could also see I know this is kind of relevant, but I could also see them trading back and trying to recoup more draft picks, more cheap players, because they're about to pay Joe Burrow a fucking bag. So that's
That is true.
That's fair.
That's
Yeah,
gonna limit the cap space a little bit. So they may want some more cheap players.
No, that's
Yeah,
great.
that is true. And then they could probably get, because I mean, at this point, I mean, there's certain positions where you're drafting for your need that you just don't know if if it's going to work out. So why don't you trade back, and then you could draft multiple guys at these positions, and then hopefully one of them pans
for
out.
sure.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
I do.
Go ahead.
I do like DJ Turner from Michigan though, at corner. I would take him in the first round.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is a deep corner draft, so I guess you can wait corner here, and then definitely go Washington because you're not going to get another tight end. I mean, Sam Laporta will be there, but Sam Laporta, I mean, his production really doesn't stack up to the rest of the guys that.
That Iowa offense was, to quote you, dog water.
It was. No, the quarterback play was fucking terrible. So that's the thing. Sam Laporta could be a sleeper guy because he put up the fastest 40 at the combine out of tight ends. And he's not a fucking slouch of a player, man. Like slouch, he's not his size, he's not very small is what I'm trying to say. So it's just like
6'3", 245. All right, well, let's get into the next pick.
That boy's pretty big. It's like Aaron
the other two was 6'8". They just drafted a fucking 6'8" tight end. All right, so let's get into the Saints. This is your pick, Deuce. So who do you see the Saints taking?
I'm gonna go Brian Brees out of Clemson.
Over offensive line.
Yeah, Brian Brees out of Clemson, 100%.
All right, I'm locking that in. I could see them going offensive line here. I think they need some offensive help, but offensive help in general, but offensive line specifically make a huge difference for them, specifically in the running game. They couldn't get shit going in the running game last year.
They just can't run the ball. They've never been able to run the ball, in my opinion. Saints just suck at running football. That's why I'm just like, go defense. Shore up that defense. Make sure that shit's top 5. Have Derek Carr. Derek Carr went there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just sit there, get some fucking guards. I'm not drafting interior fucking offensive lineman in the first round. Sorry, not happening. So we're gonna, unless she's fucking great, like they do from Florida. So, I would defensive line all the way. Can't do it. And I'm not drafting a wide receiver.
Gotcha.
Fuck that. There's no linebackers worth drafting.
This is a
Go ahead.
This is a different franchise now that Sean Payton has left. I mean, we can all agree on that, I think. So
oh yeah.
I don't have a lot of faith in the Saints, to be honest. So
no, they gotta prove it. Yeah, they gotta prove it. They got a lot to prove to themselves, to the city of New Orleans for sure. Let's see here. Creativity is where he could improve. They do say he's a first round pick and versatile defensive tackle. So yeah, I mean, makes sense for need. I mean, first round though, you like to be focusing more on just like top talent and adding top talent. That's where I feel like he's a little bit of a reach at defensive line, but I also think New Orleans is kind of known for that, to be honest, going and grabbing a defensive lineman that none of us.
He's the same build like Cam Jordan. He's the same type of player. That's what I kind of feel like they'll gravitate to him. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like Miles Murphy, where they just don't normally draft outside pass. They like guys who they can be inside, but then you could also move them to like a strong side pass rushing end or whatever. I feel like Breesy fits that. I mean, Miles Murphy.
Yeah, I just can see offensive line, to be honest. Even kicking, like Darnell Wright is like at this point he's kind of falling, so I would be tempted to go in that direction.
Oh, he wasn't drafted.
Yeah, just based off value, I'd be tempted to go. But Anton Harrison, I could see him easily moving into a guard spot. Yeah, 6'4", 315. So just like to bolster that offensive line, I'd be tempted to go in that direction over Brian Breesy, who I think you could potentially get, possibly at the top of the second round or maybe even middle of the second round, depending on how the board falls. But I mean, I don't blame you. I think it's a good, and it's, to be honest, like it does feel like a Saints pick, to be real. I remember when they traded up and got Marcus Davenport, and everybody's like, who the fuck? Why did they trade up for him?
Fucking, that was a miss. I mean,
Yeah, that was wild.
to trade
I
up
mean,
that much.
He's like inconsistent, but he's not bad.
Yeah, not
But they
bad.
traded up. They traded up. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so Eagles.
Yep. Eagles, yes, sir.
This is crazy. Well, Levis is still on the board. I'm not saying Eagles will take him, but
yeah, no, I feel you. Just him dropping.
But this is how good teams get good. They get the steal at the end of the draft that nobody took. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
I really like Cam Smith.
Cam Smith, interesting.
I like Cam Smith. But I'm gonna go.
Gotcha.
Wow, there's a lot of tackles still on the board.
Mm-hmm.
They all suck. That's why.
No.
How many tackles did we take? Let's see.
Not many.
Definitely 2. Well, at least 2, because I know we took Paris and we took Skronsky.
And Broderick somewhere.
Broderick Jones too.
Yeah,
so that's 3. I mean, that's more than enough for the first
3
round,
tackles and then also a guard. Have the draft.
See, they have such a good roster. They can afford to reach, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they could.
Yeah.
I don't think they will though. I think they're the type of team that takes the best available player. I think they might go wide receiver there.
They could go need though, like kind of what you're talking about. And I can't think that's kind of when you see teams reach is when they go for their need. But when you're a team so close like they are, brother, you can you can just draft what it is to make you a Super Bowl winner.
Are they a wide receiver away though? I mean,
they're a slot. They're a great slot receiver away from winning a Super Bowl with those 2 they got on the outside. I mean, you give them a 3-headed monster with Bijan Robinson. I mean, they're dangerous, dude.
What about this guy right here?
Tank Dell.
Oh my god!
I think he's the best receiver in the draft.
Jalen Hyatt still available? Josh Downs.
Oh wow, yeah.
Tank Dell reminds me of He reminds me. I don't know how fast he is, but he literally reminds me of Tyreek Hill with the ability he's able to like just run away from guys in routes. It's insane.
You know what? What? This is easy. This is easy actually.
Okay.
Towards the end of the year, their star older right tackle was really banged up, Lane Johnson. So I'm gonna give them Darnell Wright right here.
Love it.
Tackle.
That's actually not a bad pick.
Love it. Great pick. I think Steele really that's something, and it gives them a lot of, like next off season, that'll give them a lot of flexibility as to like what they want to do as far as paying people. Wright is a 4-year starter who finally saw the proverbial light flip on this past fall. His tape against Alabama's Will Anderson Jr. was outstanding as he allowed only 1 pressure in that game and 8 for the season. And it says, what's his role? Right tackle, guard, and gap scheme. Right skill set is traditionally placed on the right side, although that's fairly antiquated thinking. It also wouldn't be a surprise if some wanted him to move inside. So, yeah, I mean, I think you have a lot of flexibility there. It makes a lot of sense. He's dropped to you at this point. I agree 100%. I think you're running to make that pick. I got the Super Bowl winning Chiefs. I'm gonna go ahead and make Deuce Andretti's night. Let's go ahead and do it.
I was gonna say Zay Flowers or something like that.
I was actually just watching his like film as you picked him, bro. That kid is nasty, bro. He put up 1,300 yards, 17 touchdowns, Like that kid
This
is
seems like
grimy.
something. It seems like something that Andy Reid would do. You know what I mean? Draft some guy that we're like, oh, okay, we heard about him a little bit, but you look at Carolina.
The competition in that conference, though.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great point.
I mean, they need depth
I
at receiver though. 1,300 yards. They lost
they
Miko
definitely need
Hardman.
receiver. Yeah. No, I agree. I think
12.8 yards per catch, 109 receptions. This kid is like literally like, yeah, he's an Andy Reid fucking player for sure. He's salivating over this kid right now. He's like, yeah, I hope nobody fucking takes him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he makes some sense there for sure. And I mean, I was looking at some of his measurables and stuff, and mostly just because you kept talking about him, so I wanted to draft him. But I was reading some of his measurables down here. Like, I mean, 2022 it said campaign, he had 108 catches, basically 1,400 yards and 17 scores. So I mean, that's insane. 5'8".
That's fucking stupid. That is
Yeah,
fucking stupid.
He's a movable weapon. Yeah, 5'8", small, but I mean, honestly, they've shown the willingness to have those kind of receivers on their team and work with them. All the guys that they've gotten off of the Giants, right? Aren't all of them like under 6 foot receivers? They're really fast and just flex. They're more east to west guys than they are north to south. So I think
they're going into next year with Tony. MVS is still there under contract, and then what's the other dude they took last year? Sky Moore.
Yeah.
So they're going into the season with that. So I can definitely see them adding a receiver.
Yeah, I mean they might go in a different direction. They might end up going in a different direction, and another receiver might fit what they're looking for a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely see him going receiver for sure.
He's the type of player that is like, you know, like it's just he reminds me of a player that you just draft and then it's like, oh yeah, he's a fucking steal. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and you remember the position they were in at the end of towards the end of the playoffs, man. Like everybody was hurt. They just didn't have enough weapons. They were just relying on Travis Kelce and whoever else you can get out there to strap on a helmet. So I think it makes a lot of sense to go in that direction. And I think, I'm really trusting your analysis on this guy because I haven't looked into him past what you've sent me and stuff. But yeah, I mean, as far as just really my main point being, like, I can see him going Josh Downs to that point. I could definitely see him going Zay Flowers as well. I think just adding another weapon for Patrick Mahomes makes sense. And I actually think that they figured out the running back position for at least another year. The Isaiah Pachenko guy, I liked him. Honestly, he made sense.
Or whatever his name is.
Yeah, where you needed
the biggest.
Yeah, go ahead.
The biggest thing that I see with this kid is they say they can move him around in different spots.
Yeah.
Which is like, and then they said he could be a return specialist. I think that's the biggest thing and then he's got a good change of directions, which Chiefs like to do a lot of screens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think he's a perfect fit for them. Nathaniel Dell plays bigger than his size and consistently found ways to get open versus college DBs. He also is a threat in the return game. He's a Swiss Army knife. Abilities could seek him into the top 100. I mean, this kid, to me, is a lock in the first round.
Yeah, we'll see. You said he was a first rounder, so that's why I had to make you not a liar.
He's a first rounder, dude. I mean, 4.49 in the 40. I mean, 10-1 broad jump, so he's explosive.
What was the biggest, before we hop off here, what was the biggest surprise off of us doing this mock draft for you? Going through it.
CJ Stroud dropping, honestly. That to me was a surprise. CJ Stroud dropping.
Dropping from what?
From number 1. And then Brian Branch. For me, putting him as high as I was going to put him, for me, was a surprise. But I realized his value in the NFL, with the way the offense is nowadays. You really need a great safety. So if he can be great, then. But yeah, CJ Stroud for me for sure.
Harold, what's your opinion? As far as doing this, what kind of jumped out to you?
Honestly, my biggest surprise was Denzel taking Drew Sanders, linebacker from Arkansas.
Yeah.
Where did I pick him again?
Oh, I don't have it up anymore. Let's see.
I think it was in the teens. Okay, I have him as maybe the 4th linebacker.
He picked him 19th. He went to the Tampa Bay Bucks.
But he had 9.5 sacks in the SEC, bro. I mean, this kid is a do-it-all kind of back, or he reminds me of like Clay Matthews, where you can put him inside, but you can also move him outside, and then he gives you 10, 11 sacks.
He's good, but to me, he's number 3 or 4. I like Trent Simpson better, and I like Jack. I love Jack Campbell. I wouldn't be surprised if he went in the first round.
Yeah, me either.
I like Jack
Campbell.
Campbell.
In love with him. I'm pulling up. I don't know. Okay, so there you go. There's the draft. If you have any questions.
Jack Campbell has been training with Luke Kuechly all off season. Perfect. So I'm really high on Jack Campbell.
Yeah, no, I love to hear that. Wouldn't mind him being a Miami Dolphin. Him and Jahmyr Gibbs, and then I like Dalton Kincaid, and I don't think he's a Mike Gesicki do-over, so I wouldn't mind him. But those are like 3 players coming into the draft that I really hope we land one of them in the second round. But I wouldn't be mad at Mike Mayer either.
I think I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard for me to say that. I think Sanders just makes sense from a he's a sideline to sideline thumper. Like he's gonna make tackles. He's gonna be in the right spot. He can get to the pass rusher. I mean, the quarterback if he needs to. I mean, to me, he fits what they need. And he can be an anchor for their defense where they really don't have one in Tampa Bay.
Why do you have to transfer?
Huh?
Why do you have to transfer?
Honestly, that was, to me, Alabama's biggest mistake, personally, in my opinion. And I told Paul this when he did transfer, because I thought the kid was a baller. And Paul even said he was mad when he transferred, because the kid's a baller. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was one of the kids when he was a 5-star committed to Alabama. I'm like, yeah, that kid's gonna make some noise because he can play. There's certain guys that just have a feel for the game at linebacker, to where they just know where they need to be. And when I watch him play, he just always is in the right spot, to make a play. And I think that translates to the NFL very well. I haven't watched a lot of Jack Campbell, so I can't really vouch for him, but I went with what my eyes saw, and I thought he was a stud.
Yeah. So for me, probably the biggest surprise was Tyree Wilson falling to 23. Which, even though when we were doing the draft, honestly, the more that I kind of thought about it, there's a few times I had to pass on him. I could see how a situation like that happens very easily with a player that's kind of like such a niche player. You know what I mean? Like what he does is very specific. So it's like if you feel like you have that taken care of on your team, or you just have like a bigger need with still a blue chip prospect, and you take him. I don't know. Like I kind of question whether or not I don't think he makes it out of the top 10, but with the top 10, I will say like Joey Porter being drafted in the top 10 really surprised me on this. But that's kind of stuff you can't account for with different minds working, and that's kind of how the draft works. You will be surprised. And Joey Porter Jr. being drafted.
He went to the Raiders, right?
Raiders, yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
And that's not even like a need for them, but I just have a feeling, man. They just do shit like that.
Everybody needs a corner, bro.
And I'm interested to see if he's the second corner to come off the board. He said everybody needs a corner.
You know who didn't even come off the board in the first round, who was a surprise for me? Keely Ringo out of Georgia. To me, he's the best corner in college football, in my opinion.
Why the fuck didn't you take him? You took corners. That makes no sense to even say that.
Well, because he's so rated. Because I was trying to be realistic with the prospect list I'm looking at, and he was just so far down that putting him into the first round is kind of like the way they have him rated. For me to throw him in the first round would be just so much of a stretch,
Right.
But I think personally, he's a first round corner.
Okay. I think what you mean is he would be a steal in the second round.
Agreed.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Agree with that.
And there's a lot of teams really high on this wide receiver from Ole Miss, Jonathan Mingo. Nobody talked about him tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if he snuck in the first round. Like he's Yeah, and Ole Miss has a history of producing some good wide receivers recently. AJ Brown, Metcalf. So, yeah, there's a lot of teams high on him. I was honestly thinking about him with the Saints pick, but yeah, there's a lot of teams high on him.
I think I did the Saints pick. I think you might have got the Darnell right? Or you were just thinking about it when I was talking about it, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, got you. Actually, that was Denzel's pick, the Saints pick. Okay, well, yeah, no, I mean, like, it was good doing this draft. This was very interesting. There was honestly a lot of surprises. Like, I'm looking down this list right now, and like, yeah, there was a few things like,
that's the draft, though.
That is the draft. Like I said, definitely
screenshot this list. Though. I'm interested to see what happens with it. Because honestly, I feel like when I watch the draft, I feel like this is kind of how I feel about it anyway. I'm like, well, what the fuck are these people fucking thinking?
Yes, exactly, bro. Yeah. Hey, we should all like do our own at least like top 10 and then compare it for accuracy later.
Yeah, for sure. We could definitely do that. That'd be cool. Yeah, so definitely we'll do that. And also everybody tune in. We're going to do a live stream with the draft tomorrow. So some of us will pop in on that and we'll all kick it and vibe. So it'll be fun to see how accurate. I'll take some pictures of this and we'll talk about this. And then, yeah, we should all do our own individual drafts and see how close they are. Cansey dropping, I don't know. Like I said, like my pre-draft before we did this research, I guess I'm surprised to see him falling. But I think him falling to the Dallas Cowboys would be really interesting. So.
Yeah, some of these, I think that's a great fit for him, though.
Yeah, some of these positions players fell into, I actually really like. Like, I like Christian Gonzalez on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Him falling there, I think, is a good fit. Yeah. So, I mean, even the Brian Branch pick, where I think is a little too early for him going to New England with them losing McCourty, that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I like this draft, man. It was fun doing it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, I will see you guys. Make sure you like, share, subscribe for more content like this. Shout out to Harold for popping in with me. Shout out to Deuce Andretti as always. Yeah, we're out here. I appreciate y'all. Have a great night.